Welcome back to the official GeekSpeak Podcast. I am your host, Sean, and joined as always is my co-host, Josh. Rudy Rudolph. This is the podcast where we watch movies, make movies, play games, and more. What else can you ask for? How you doing?
You know, at first I was just like, okay, did he forget how to speak words? And I realized you're trying to do a clicker noise. Oh, that hurt my throat.
But you're not clicking.
Look, I'm trying my best. Okay, in the documentary on how they made the first game, they had several different kind of audio noises that they used to make the clicker noises.
Well, aren't you a fancy little boy then? You know too much.
I know too much.
You watch anything good lately besides new movies that come out? Anything that you rewatched or anything lately, or anything that's past tense, non-theaters?
Let me see. I did rewatch Everything Everywhere All at Once after the Oscars, which we'll talk about. That was great, of course. Champions was surprisingly good. Triangle of Sadness, not a fan of.
I watched all 4 Hunger Games in 2 days.
It sounded like you said Hungarians.
I watched all 4 Hungarians. There's only 4 of them.
Wow, the whole country?
Yeah, they're a lot. They're dying off because they're too hungry.
Oof.
If you're from Hungary listening to this, that's cool. But also, I'm sorry for insulting you. Not the intention of the podcast. I watched Hunger Games and Catching Fire one day. The next day, I watched Mockingjay Part 1 and 2. And I will say, Mockingjay, the book, is worse to me than Mockingjays the movies. Because I didn't like Katniss's own thoughts in the book, and there's less of that in the movies. Part 2 is better than Part 1, but it should have been one movie, but I also don't know what you'd cut. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think, from what I remember of Part 1, I remember being like, this is just very slow and boring, but there was parts that I'm like, okay, this is interesting, but it didn't capture me enough to make me go see Part 2 in theaters, and I own it. I still haven't watched it.
Last year, Josh tried watching all of them again just to finish the series finally, and he stopped at Part 1 again.
Yeah, I got to it, and it was late at night. I was tired. I went to bed, and I didn't watch it.
I, however, have not seen Part 1 or Part 2 until this watch. I'd watch Hunger Games 1 and watch Catching Fire, because I read all the books 10 years ago, and I love the books, mostly. I love 2/3 of the books. I like a lot of parts of Mockingjay. I think as a whole, it's a little messy. Anyway, that's what I watched lately. Also, Josh, most episodes, we go through a different Disney Channel original movie, or DCOm, for short. And we see how in a short period of time, the biggest media company on Earth catered toward like solely children with a large sample size. We'll see quality changes, etc. This week is no different. We watched a movie called Quints, and we'll get to that soon. It was interesting, and we also we go through the news of the past 2 weeks now, and we'll go through the topic for today, which we have 2 main topics. That's why we're not doing a super weird story later. So we have the Oscars and The Last of Us Season 1, which will be led by Josh. Let's talk about our DCOm, shall we?
Do we have
to?
It's time?
It's time, Josh.
Oh,
so
no.
we watched Quints, which I'm going to give right away. We give yay or nay on all the news, all the DCOMs, all the movies we've watched, and we discussed, because art is subjective. There is no good or bad or yes or no. It's just like, it's what we gravitate towards. This one's a hard nay for me. I was not a fan of this one.
Hard nay, indeed.
There's not a plot to Quints. And when I say there's not a plot, I mean there's things that happen, but they're not a story.
The best way I can describe what he means by this is movies like Licorice Pizza don't have plots in them. They have events, and that's not always a bad thing of not having a plot. If you have interesting characters or events that are happening, then a lack of an overall narrative doesn't necessarily hurt the film. It really hurts the film here.
Yes, but like for instance, Spirited Away is no plot, just vibes, and it works so well.
Exactly.
This movie, there's a biker gang without bikes at one point. That's a thing. Which I told you about earlier, and you didn't understand what I meant, but now you do.
I do, and it was very strange that they were on a subway.
Yeah, it's a weird movie. So the quote-unquote plot of this movie is Marnie from Halloween Town, not the character, the actor.
All my notes, I listed her as Marnie.
She's called something else in this, Josh.
I know she is, but she's Marnie to me.
That's fair. Although she gets recast for our next Halloween Town movie.
Shame.
I agree. She is a only child for most of her life, and she's like 15 and no siblings. And so maybe a little younger than that. She has to work really, really hard. Her parents never went to college. They put a lot of pressure on her to do well, get into like, advanced engineering and math school, like be really super top of her class kind of person. And so all she wants is her parents to back off of her a little bit, which that's a little reasonable. But you know what would have worked better than hoping for quintuplets, uh, over siblings? What would have worked better than that is talking to them.
But this is a Disney Channel movie. You can't talk about things until it's the third act breakup.
There's no breakups in this though. There's no dating, which is good.
Yes.
This movie did not need dating. And so she learns in this movie she's not a big fan of the math and science that she struggles with because she's also used to getting C's on her report card. And through art, she learns the power of getting a B. I'm not wrong.
You're not wrong. I just think it's a very funny way of describing it.
She joins art club with her friends, finding passion for imagination, although all she draws is her babies, like her siblings. Not her babies. Her siblings who
she does not have babies in this. We are clarifying.
Yes. All she does is paint and draw her siblings who are 5 babies, which we'll get to soon. We're now again focusing on only child part right now. So she joins art club. Her parents are on board with that. She thought they wouldn't be because they don't. It doesn't. Not she.
It's not part. It's not part of the plan.
Right, but she also thinks really little of her parents a lot in this movie.
She really does.
They can never get behind me enjoying something else. They still love you, Marnie, Jamie, whatever your name is.
Child.
Main girl. It's an odd film. So she joins art club. She gets excited about that. She gets an A in art class now. So she's taking art class. I guess was that an elective she chose? Is that a core class in her grade? That's crazy to me.
I think what's funny is I remember the art class teacher was just like, and best part, there's no grades. And at the end, there's a grade. So I'm guessing she took art class after art club.
Well, maybe she was already in art class.
I don't know.
I don't know either. That's not really elaborated. Well, the club has no grades because it's a club, and that makes sense.
I just want to know why she got better because of art club, but not because of art class.
Well, you have more creative freedom to you want to do, and there's no pressure on stuff. I guess for grades, there's more pressure on things. I get that a little bit. It's weird. But then anyway, she's no longer an only child. Her parents have babies.
Lots of babies.
And they almost pull a weird gag at the end where they have 7. We'll get into that later. But they have 5 babies now. There's a woman they hire named Fiona, who's the worst person.
I kind of like Fiona.
What? It's a babysitter, kind of like a nanny kind of person who's... You ever heard of Mary Poppins? It's not like that.
The funniest thing about her was she always talked about herself in the third person, and she had a very thick Irish accent. I don't know why, that just tickled my funny bone.
Fear not, for I am Fiona was her catchphrase. Because, of course, grown adult women have catchphrases. And, of course, Fiona couldn't take handling 5 babies again because no one can take that pretty well on their own. Except Jamie could do it.
Because she's his sister, and she pays attention.
Because she's this... I think Fiona paid attention. She just didn't... it's whatever.
The babies had to be on a schedule. They had to pee at the right time. They had to poop at the right time. If they didn't, then everything falls apart.
They will listen to Fiona. Josh, what else happened? It's your turn to talk. I'm tired. I'm tired of this grandpa.
I took notes.
Oh boy.
So
where are we? What's happening next?
So Fiona leaves, and then they're just like, "Oh, woe is me. What will we do?" Then Magic Truck shows up with many diapers. They're like, "Whoa, Magic Truck of diapers. What's this?" And a guy
specify they're also not wealthy at all. They can't afford to have these 5 kids.
They are very much a lower middle class family, which is odd to see in a Disney movie or not. I don't remember. Either way, Magic Diaper Truck shows up. And a magic man named Albert shows up. He's like, I will make you and your babies rich and famous. So let's exploit your babies for said rich and said fame. Which
those kind of people do exist. I do usually get upset. I mean, they give me a bit of a different perspective. Because I usually do get upset at the parents for exploiting their kids. But I also thought about, if you really are desperate and you can't afford it, it's like, sometimes it's the only way you can afford to have a kid.
Yes, and in the context of this movie, I don't think they said what state they were in, but they were the first quintuplets born in that state, so, people are like, wow, 5 babies at once, that's crazy!
Even the governor cares, which we'll get to
The
later.
governor really cares. But my
Uh,
first note of the movie was, "Thanks for holding my hand, movie. I'd be so lost without you." Now, can you tell me what the number 5 means? There is so much narration and fourth wall breaking in this movie. I was starting to lose my mind. I kid you not. It's insane. If you think Deadpool's fourth wall breaking is annoying, this is even worse.
it felt like they saw, hey, Miracle in Lane 2 did well. Let's try and do some of that stuff. But they didn't understand what worked in that movie.
There's like half of Marnie's dialogue in this is her having some fantasy, which they also don't transition into said fantasy well at all to indicate that's what it is. And she's just like, "I'm kidding. You guys need to start paying attention." Every single time, I'm like, "I get it. You hate us. Now be quiet."
She does say things like, well, did that really happen? No, kind of stuff. It's so weird.
And I hate digging on child actors for a bad performance, but this one is different because we have seen Marnie give good performances before. This was because of bad direction. A lot of her dialogue is not great, and her delivery, especially narration, bad. But I'm chopping it up to just bad direction. There's only 2 good scenes in this. I counted 2, where she's actually allowed to show emotion and it feels earned.
Yeah, near the end, she when she gets actually emotional about feeling like abandoned again, she does a really good job for pulling that off.
In most films like this, it'd be a typical just like, "I hate the babies. I wish they were never born." But it actually wasn't that. I was just like, "Oh wow, you didn't go with the cliche. Good for you."
No, she loves her siblings.
Yes, I'm happy they avoid the trope of just like, "I didn't want the babies" and all that. She's like, "No, I love my brothers and sisters. I just actually want my parents to pay attention to me." I have a note in here. This is when Fiona first shows up. She's just like, only the babies and the mother, everyone else out. And Marnie is just like, "I'm a sibling." She's like, "All right, you friend, out, leave, goodbye." And I was like, why is this woman Irish, and why did she kick out her friend? My guess, racist.
The way you said that reminded me of the teacher in Incredibles. Coincidence?
I think not.
Which also, that line is said in this movie. Coincidence? I think not. That exact line is said in this movie.
Yeah.
But what happens after Fiona leaves, Josh, and Albert comes? Who is Albert? What's going on there?
So Albert wants to make the babies rich and famous and all that junk, and so the parents start focusing on all that more, and Marnie's art's getting better, and she's just like, "Why won't they pay attention to me? Why are they focusing on the money? Blah, 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 blah." And it gets to this big art show, and she gets into it, and she's so happy and proud of herself, but her parents are more like, "Oh, the babies, we gotta focus on that, because their other daughter does now not exist." And so because of that, they get invited to a governor's ball, because fame. And Marnie's just like, "But my art show," and like all that. So she goes to school, she tears up some of her drawings, the first good scene of the movie. And then she so the scene before this, it was a parent teacher conference, which they forgot about. They forget about their child a lot in this. And I wrote, "Marnie, read the room. Your friend might have parents that hate him, but don't let him know that." Because one of her friends, it just makes like they just make this passing comment like his parents like didn't
All the
show up or
time.
something. It's all the time. I thought it was just that one scene.
No, it happened numerous times, Josh.
Oh no.
They imply that either his parents approach abandon this genius kid.
I forget. I thought it was just that one scene, and he takes it so casually.
No, he brings up a few. It's implied a few times that his parents just don't care about him at all. In fact, early on, she's like, I wish I had parents like yours," to him or something like that, because they weren't on his case. Let's talk about that art show. One thing I like about it a lot is that she forgives her parents after seeing how busy they are for not remembering about it, and then doesn't bring up to them again, realizing, you know what, they're only going to get invited to the governor once. They're only going to be called Parents of the Year one time. It's okay. I'll let it slide. I actually really think I was really mature of her. I love that decision.
Yes, when I got down and like really thought about the script itself is honestly not that bad. It's a generic story for sure, but it does have those shining moments where I'm like, okay, you're trying, you're doing something a bit different. It's just the direction that I hate. There are so many scenes of quote unquote comedy in this that do not land and do not work at all.
But yeah, she gets into her school's art show. It's a big deal. She tells her parents a date and time, everything. They're really excited for her. That same time, Albert comes in with like their last big gig of, "Hey, you're Quints," which is what they call the quintuplets, and they say it Quints 1,000 times. The quintuplets, they get invited to the governor's ball, like you said, The parents, I don't think even realize it all the exact same time, because the time of the governor's ball is on the card. Their invites.
Look, we've
for the day.
established that they don't care about their one child. It's okay. It's fine.
Also, at one point, one of the quintuplets goes to the hospital, named Adam, and at that moment, that's when they fire Albert for being their baby manager, because Albert said we should just replace the baby for one shoot, and they're like, no, this is an actual child of mine, and they fire him, which that's good, I guess. Not my favorite DCOm.
No.
I was talking to you about 20 minutes in the movie for you, and you said you want to watch Genies again instead.
I would. That was so much more fun.
What is next up, Josh?
Let me see.
It's Brave. We're just watching Brave now.
Please be Luck at the Irish.
It was St. Patrick's Day the other day. Happy St. Patty's Day, everyone.
Yay, the Irish. The next one is called The Other Me. Is about a... This will be fun. I hope it'll be fun.
Okay, I'm going blind. This will be interesting. The Other Me. But Josh, you know what it's time for?
More word talk?
More word talk, aka news. So it's been about 2 weeks since we last recorded. Last recorded on the 3rd or 4th, and now it's the 19th? Oh, shit.
Yeah.
You know what? Life is hard, and we have struggles. But we got some movies to come out. We had Scream 6 come out. That was a really fun time.
Indeed it was. I saw it in the theater by myself. Perks of working at a theater.
I also saw it in the theater by myself. I mean, I had a smallish crowd with me, but like I saw it. I didn't go with anyone else, and I had a fun time. The first Scream is still my favorite.
Yeah, I think I would go. I need to rewatch Scream 6, but I think I would go 1, 5, 6, 4, 2, 3.
Prior to Scream 6, because I don't know where it ranks yet. It would be 1, 5, 4, and 2 are tied, and then 3.
Okay.
But I don't know where 6 is. The ending to me comes off really weird. Like, the dialogue is really cheesy at the end, and the ghost face stuff isn't great to me at the end.
But considering that they only had a year difference between when the last one came out and this one, I'm honestly impressed how good it is.
And they're starting Scream 7 this year, looks like.
That's concerning me a bit more, but hopefully they have an idea.
But let's get into other stuff. Like, we had 65 came out with middling reviews.
I'm disappointed by it. Such a cool premise, but man, it is wasted.
I'm still gonna watch it at some point because I still want to see dinosaurs and Adam Driver. Why not? And apparently he gets a flower in his hair. That's cute. Shazam! Fury of the Gods that came out, and that's cool. It'll either be our next episode will either be on that or the D&D movie. So that's fun.
Yay!
And for those who don't know, I'm currently making a campaign for Josh and some other people we know to play D&D together. Maybe at one point we'll record a game just to put it out in the audio version on the podcast. That'd be fun.
My main goal will be chaos because I don't know what to do.
That's mine too for all of you. I won't kill you all. I'll get close.
I will make you suffer.
But I'm excited and you're watching Shazam today. I'm hoping watching it tomorrow morning. It'll be a fun time. We also had Ted Lasso return.
Yes.
And I am starting watching that tonight.
So I'm so happy. After watching the first episode, I think I can see and understand why they're going with 3 seasons, and that's all I'll say.
Question for you, though. Is it the whole season now or just a few episodes?
It's just the first episode.
Okay. But that's good. Yay on Ted Lasso returning. I love that. We also have Hannah Waddingham news, who you might know as Rebecca in Ted Lasso.
Yes.
She has been cast in Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 2.
Yes. Yes. A million times yes.
It's a long title.
I don't care. Any casting for that movie at this point, I'm there, day one.
Hannah Waddingham is great. I love Rebecca the character, and I'm excited for more she does. And at some point, Josh and I will watch all Mission Impossible, as well as my girlfriend Nicole. We'll just sit down and watch them all. Because she wants to watch them with me too. So we'll have a group watch. Sound good?
Yes!
Other news, I'll give that a yay, because Hannah's cool. According to Collider, David Harbour said that the final season of Stranger Things begins filming this June. That's cool.
Yay.
Yay. This is some fast yays. We have Beetlejuice 2 news. Not only is that officially happening, But Jenna Ortega has reportedly been offered the role of Lydia Deet's daughter in Beetlejuice 2. That's not claimed if she has the role yet, and she's apparently circling some other roles as well in the movie. Cool. She's a great actress. If you've seen Scream 6, you know she's also great in that. She did some small indie show about a girl named Tuesday or something. I don't know, some weekday. Yeah, she's done some stuff. Beetlejuice 2, again, that's a movie with no plot, just vibes.
Pretty much, yeah.
And I don't know what the sequel will be like, but sure, why not?
They need to get the ball rolling on that soon, because Michael Keaton's in his 70s. Like, there's only so much longer that he can, do zany, weird stuff.
There's a chance they might recast Beetlejuice.
No!
Because there's other actors who could do it kind of part too. Because he's a demon anyway, he can change his appearance and stuff, whatever.
I got it! Jared Leto!
No, please.
Meow?
Ben Schwartz is Beetlejuice?
Honestly...
Okay, no, we should have Jake Johnson as Beetlejuice. Nick from New Girl.
No, Jake Gyllenhaal.
Pedro Pascal.
Yes!
Pedro Pascal is Beetlejuice.
He has to take Jenna Ortega across the country.
Oh my god. So yay or nay on her potentially playing Lydia's daughter?
I'll give it a yay. I'm good with seeing her in anything.
So you like popular hot people?
I mean, that's what a celebrity is, isn't it?
Andrew Garfield and Florence Pugh will star in We Live in Time.
Yes, more popular hot people starring in movies.
That's what they are, right? According to the internet. The film is described as funny, deeply moving, and an immersive love story, according to Deadline.
The real question is will they let them have their British accents?
This is a big day for the LGBTQ community, because while these actors are apparently not outwardly queer anyway, the queer people love them. But in all honesty, that's great. They're both great actors. We got Spider-Man and Yelena together again. Or not again, but for the first time, looks like cool. Yay. You know how those two played Marvel characters?
Uh-huh.
There's some DC characters that exist, Josh.
There are?
Like the Batman in the Batman. And the Batman Part 2 begins filming this November.
Yay.
Yay. How can I film now instead? But also, that's cool for fall vibes. So that's cool.
I'm so curious who the villain is going to be. That's the thing that really excites me. After Paul Dano's Riddler, I'm very curious who it's going to be. Because
Paul Dano's... Oh, yeah, you said it right. I think I said Joker in my head.
No. But I was about to say, because I don't think it's going to be Barry Keoghan's Joker. I don't think it's going to be that yet.
Or it's going to be Morbius, somehow. Speaking of comic book characters, back to some Marvel stuff. We got to look at Kahori, I think I'm pronouncing that right, from What If Season 2. The character will be included in an episode focused on what would happen if the Tesseract fell to Earth and landed in the sovereign Haudenosaunee Confederacy before the colonization of America. It's an indigenous story with a really long title that people cannot always pronounce.
They're probably going to want to shorten that title down.
Cool design, though, for the character.
Yes.
And I like the...
And Amber Midthunder from Prey is playing the role, and I'm very excited for that.
That's awesome. Yay.
Yay.
I want more indigenous representation. Do you know, Josh, that sometimes games get delayed?
You know what? I've been a gamer all my life. Never once have I experienced this.
Well, Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League has been delayed to later this year after fan backlash. I'm never mad at a game or movie being delayed, really, almost ever, because it means they're still working and they want to make sure it's better.
Yes, and they delayed it because everyone saw all the microtransaction bullshit they were doing with it, and fans were like, no, we don't want this. And they actually listened, which is shocking.
So, Josh, in that game, who was the Suicide Squad trying to kill?
The Justice League.
And who is, honestly, the most popular person in the Justice League?
Oh, that's a great one. I think Captain Cold. I think he's in the Justice League.
Yeah, I would go with Batman as most popular personally. Maybe I'm wrong. Just a hunch.
He's mid.
I hate that word, you fucking idiot. No. Speaking of Batman, I did a great transition there, totally. Jensen Ackles almost played Batman, quote unquote, almost, in Gotham Knights, but couldn't due to scheduling conflicts.
Quote unquote, scheduling conflicts.
Scheduling conflict was his reputation.
Yeah.
I'm glad he didn't do it.
Me too.
But I would have been cool to see him as Batman on TV. That'd be cool as an idea.
If he ever played Batman live action, I think it would be very cool. But from the clips we've seen of Gotham Knights, he made the smart choice.
He'd be playing a dead Batman too.
Well, there probably would be flashbacks, but still.
No, only dead guy in like suit and tie in the ground. I gave that news a yay. I'm glad he avoided it.
I give it a yay, but I'm honestly kind of curious. From the clips I've seen of the pilot episode, I'm like, this is hot garbage. I kind of want to see it.
And opposite to Batman is our boy Superman. And James Gunn is officially directing, not only writing, but now directing Superman Legacy. Clark Kent dealing with the legacy of both his two fathers, Jor-El and Jonathan Kent. And probably based on the passing of both of them, is my guess. And how to struggle with the two identities. Which, that was a lot of the premise of Man of Steel, but didn't do as well as this idea probably.
I got a feeling this movie is going to break my heart because James Gunn's father also passed away very recently. So this is probably going to just rip my heart out. But I'm excited.
I've been open on this podcast about saying Gunn's style isn't for me. Not that he's a bad director, just not my style usually. But I'm thinking that his thought process is, this is our first big movie. This cannot be fucked up.
Oh yeah,
I want to handle this.
He's got a great like vision for like how the comic book feel of these kinds of movies, the action scenes, stuff like that. He's fantastic with it. But I fully believe that his normal sense of humor is not going to be present in this. It's going to be very different. There's going to be humor and lightheartedness. It's not going to be the same kind of humor as Guardians or Suicide Squad.
I'd love to see a completely different tone from anything he's ever done before. I'd love to see that.
I think Gunn's a smart enough filmmaker to make it a different kind of tone.
But I remember people were like, Superman Legacy, he's like 25. What's his legacy? Oh, no.
Oh, that's the legacy.
We have news about Pascal, but not Pedro.
Aw.
Amy Pascal.
Okay.
AKA a producer for the Spider-Man films. All the Spider-Man films. She says that Across the Spider-Verse is a love story between Miles and Gwen.
Ooh.
Nay. Because it means we won't get Miles' actual love interest probably then, in the comics, his famous one, which is Adrian Toomes' daughter.
Wait, their love interest?
Yeah.
Okay, because I was reading the
not the same person as Homecoming. The movie.
No, I know that. I was reading the prequel book to the Miles Morales video game, and she appeared in that, and I never heard of her before. Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah, they're like long term, like they've been a couple for years.
Okay, because the only of all the Miles Morales comics that I had read from like the start up to a certain point, he was dating a girl that was part of Hydra. That's as far as I got with that.
Also, I like the idea of them being friends in the last movie. That was cool. I like seeing platonic just friendship.
I'm down for seeing like Gwen and Miles become a couple because, like, again, it's a different universe. It's a different thing.
No, but I know, but it also kind of makes it feel like more of he's just a Peter surrogate, which is what people have said about before. Like mainstream audiences are like, what's the difference between Miles and Peter? And if you give him Peter's love interest again, it feels a little weird.
But this is a Peter's love interest that's not gonna fall off a bridge.
No, the last one that she dated, that was a lizard. That's unfortunate. I still give it an A because I'd like to see his actual love interest on screen. That'd be cool to me.
I'll give it a yay to make Sean mad.
We have Mephisto news, Josh.
Actual Mephisto news.
A Mephisto special for Disney Plus, starring Sacha Baron Cohen, is apparently rumored to be currently filming right now, because he was cast in a Marvel movie, Ironheart, I think, as potentially Mephisto as well. Like I was what he looked like he was being. So Mephisto, WandaVision. Remember that show when everyone was talking about Mephisto every day?
Wait, you're telling me he wasn't in that?
He was Ralph Bohner, actually. Totally.
Oh.
We have other Marvel news though, Josh, that you will find interesting. We have 3 things.
3
for Daredevil, maybe 4. We have Daredevil Born Again news.
Yes.
Numerous news pieces. First thing is that they are filming.
Yay.
Charlie Cox was spotted in Matt Murdock outfit, like in New York and doing stuff again.
I like they're actually in New York shooting it.
John Bernthal will return as the Punisher
in
the show. And that was posted the same day that we learned that they might be recasting Foggy and Karen.
Might be. We don't have confirmation yet.
Know.
I really hope that they keep the characters and they keep the actors, because it's kind of insane to not have either of them.
The wording on the tweet that went viral about this was saying that they're not returning, but it means that they're not guaranteed to return. That's what they were trying to say.
Yes, they don't have confirmation on this yet, but it would really be dumb of them to not bring them back if you're bringing back Charlie, Vincent, and John into their previous roles.
But we also have our first actual recast, and that's with Vanessa, my Vanessa. Sandrine Holt will be playing Vanessa Fisk in Daredevil Born Again. And I love the replies on anything about this because it's always like weird pictures of Fisk like, you recast my Vanessa, no.
Recastings don't generally bother me. It's weird that people are like, you see, this is a hard reboot. I'm like, my brother in Christ, they have recasted roles in the MCU before. Let's calm down here for a second.
No, but also they could all be very like this could be a completely different story. With this is the first time we're seeing Daredevil in this universe, really.
But if that was the case, then they wouldn't have used his theme in She-Hulk, though.
I don't know. That show's a very meta show anyway.
What's gonna suck about Born Again is that we're never gonna get a scene as good as Daredevil doing the Walk of Shame.
That was like the most in-character Daredevil's been in a long time. That show.
I love it how happy and like not depressed he was. And like the first set photo I saw for Daredevil Born Again, he's in Manhattan, he's looking depressed, he's got his full beard. I'm like, yes, depressed Matt Murdock is back, baby.
This would be fascinating. Going from I'm a really good lawyer to I'll call it pride, not shame. He was not ashamed that day.
He was happy.
And then this. His mood has switched a few times. We have Star Wars news though, Josh, which is always an interesting thing to talk about.
Always is.
It's always the most random stuff we learn. But Patty Jenkins and Kevin Feige's Star Wars films have been shelved.
That is just, I feel so bad for Patty Jenkins after everything with Wonder Woman, and now this. I'm just like, that sucks.
It sucks. I'm kind of curious what Kevin Feige would have done. But Michael Waldron was writing, I know that, and people are mixed on that as well. But you know what? I want to see Star Wars movies in the theater.
Yeah. At least Taika's Star Wars film is still happening.
That's the next news piece.
Haha, beat you too.
Taika's film is still happening, but also he says he will likely star in it.
I don't think he's gonna be like the lead in it. I think it's just he'll have some minor role in it, or maybe he is starring in it. Maybe it's a What We Do in the Shadows in Star Wars universe movie.
He will be playing the Star War.
See, that makes no. He's playing the star in the title of Star Wars.
Watch him come back as Jar Jar. He plays Jar Jar now.
It's Taika. I wouldn't be surprised if he does something like that.
That's our Star Wars news. But Josh, you know what time it is now?
More word talking?
More word talking.
Yes.
It's time for the trailer time. Trailers on the back of the truck that's carrying the wheat to make the bread that movies go woo woo. Wheat truck time. Trailer time.
Woo woo.
First thing is, I will make a quick disclaimer. I have not watched this specific trailer purposefully. This is I'm a huge fan of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. So the TMNT Mutant Mayhem trailer came out, as well as a bunch of cool casting stuff. I love all the cast, by the way. Putting that right now, they're all great. I've seen a lot of pictures of it from the trailer and a few different quick clips, but I've avoided trying to watch the trailer because I want to go in as blind as I can. But the clips I've seen, great. They sound like teenagers. I love that. They actually, are teenagers playing them. And they sound like younger teenagers, not like 17, 18, 8, like, not older side of things, but like 13, 14, 15. I like that. I also loved the style of this so much.
The style. I'm so happy Spider-Verse got made, and now we can get anime movies that look like this. It looks so good!
You're a fan?
I am such a huge fan. This is the first Turtles movie that I'm actually, like, genuinely excited for.
You know what's a weird movie, Josh?
No.
You don't know any weird movies? That's crazy. TMNT with Patrick Stewart as the villain.
The 2007 movie?
Yeah, Patrick Stewart's the villain in that.
Did he play Shredder?
No, Shredder's not in it.
He's not?
No.
God, I haven't seen that movie since I saw it the first time.
There are statues, Josh. Magical ancient prophecy statues.
What?
We'll watch that one before we watch this movie. How about that? We'll do some Ninja Turtles diving before we go into the new movie.
We'll watch every single Turtles movie that's ever been made.
There's not a lot, actually, so that's fine. There's very few like feature-length Turtles movies.
But we have to watch the Rapping Christmas special.
Yes, and we have to find their weird musical as well. Find it online.
Yes.
TMNT Mutant Mayhem trailer, I give a yay because it looks cool style-wise. Again, I'm not seeing the full trailer. I'm trying to avoid it. If you're one of the racist assholes who think that April O'Neil isn't white anymore, she was never supposed to be white to begin with. She's based on Eastman and Laird, one of them. I don't know which one. I think it's Laird. Eastman and Laird created the Ninja Turtles. One of them, their wife, is named April, and her original appearance in comics look exactly like her. And she's not a white person in real life, and the turtle character was not supposed to be white. The colors made her white. No, when they went to color instead of black and white comics, and that's how it started. She was never supposed to be a white person in the first place, and also, she's been black before in comics. It's okay.
So the
Move
lesson here
on.
is stop being racist, you morons.
Yeah. Also, if they just change it to change it, who also cares? It's not a big deal.
This is what we
Yeah.
call fiction.
Unless the race is integral to a character, which whiteness is almost never integral to a character.
Not once,
Uh,
unless the characters themselves are racist.
right. If the characters are like Nazis, I'm like, they can be white, but that's not a good representation. It's not like good anyway. You know what I mean?
Correct.
This trailer is cool, from what I've seen in pictures.
I love it. I'm very excited. Once again, I love that Seth Rogen is out here just being the best adapter of comic book
I was
stuff.
about to say, I love that Seth Rogen has now played a warthog 3 times. We also got a trailer for Ghosted with Chris Evans and Ana de Armas.
It looks
for
like
Apple
so
TV
much
Plus.
fun.
Yeah, I love it. Like, so much. It's Chris Evans as a lead where he's not being the action star. He's like
He is the straight
useless
man
sidekick.
here, and it's great.
Yeah. He's like the useless guy being dragged along an adventure. I love it.
It's a great subversion. Chris Evans has always been an amazing comedic talent, and I'm very excited for this. And both him and Anna have great chemistry together, so this is gonna be fun. Except I hate the poster
Why?
because the poster gives me absolutely no indication of what the movie is. It's like she's like not lying on top of him, but it's just kind of like over him, and he's like looking at it. That's it. You don't get any kind of indication of what the story is or the tone or anything. It's just it's there.
We also got our final D&D movie trailer. It's fun. The best part is near the end with the dead guy.
The 5 questions. That is so clever and so funny.
That's kind of how D&D as a game is, by the way. Like this game, every like weapon they're holding, every item they see, they're actually from the D&D books. They
Like-
did actual research for this movie, Josh.
Yeah, like I've never done anything with D&D, but even I can tell that this is made by people that love this game.
Excited. Good trailer, good fun. I'm excited for both. Yay on this, yay on Ghosted.
Yay.
We also got a trailer for No Hard Feelings with Jennifer Lawrence. And I love this trailer so much.
I'm so happy that Jennifer Lawrence is just doing what she wants, and what she doesn't want to do is franchises and prestigious dramas. She's just like, I want to make an early 2000s sex comedy, and I'm so thankful for that.
My favorite part of the trailer is he's my cousin, grabs boobs, second cousin.
No, my favorite part is when the guy tries to punch the guy in front of him, and his aim is so terrible because he's so drunk he punches her in the throat.
Also fantastic. I guess the movie is funny the entire time. I thought her saying second cousin was a hilarious line.
It's so funny. This is from the director of Good Boys. If you haven't seen that, amazingly funny movie. So I'm very excited for this.
The whole movie's about anal beads. Oh god, this is a fun time. We also got a trailer for Renovations, which Josh did not watch. This trailer. I watched this trailer for one reason, and it was to support the injured Jeremy Renner. This looks boring for me, but exciting for other people.
Yeah, like I've never been someone that's cared about like renovation shows and stuff like that, but you know what? I'm happy for him. He clearly did this because he likes it, and I'm happy for him.
Also, Josh, we got a Little Mermaid trailer during the Oscars, which is a weird time to air. Like that's an odd thing to me.
I hated that.
I love this trailer though so much.
The trailer isn't bad, but god damn it, I hate how bland it looks. God.
What? Looks gorgeous.
No.
It's a little floaty, but it's based on a cartoon. I like the idea of it taking that cartoony style with it.
I don't see cartoony style. I see bland direction.
Halle Bailey is great in this too, and her voice is stunning.
Oh yeah. If there's one reason to see the movie, it's for her.
I will say, Josh, there is more color than there was before.
Yes,
like
there
color.
is more color, but I just have a feeling that it's just gonna follow the original like to a T, and it's gonna be to the detriment of the movie.
Seeing Sebastian the Crab.
He's not supposed to be a crab. He's supposed to be a lobster.
That's not true. He always was a crab.
What?
He was always been a crab the entire time.
Have I been lied to my whole life?
Yes, the cartoonist just didn't know how to draw a crab and make him look fun, so he didn't make him weird proportions.
Son of a bitch.
So it was really funny seeing him actually anatomically correct.
But also,
besides the weird, it was Mr. Crab Eyes. Didn't like that.
Why are they just real animals? Why do they keep doing this? No one cares if they look realistic. Just make them look like their cartoon counterparts. but more realistic. Why do they keep doing this?
But Josh, our last trailer involves the show Barry, which you've watched.
Okay, okay, that makes me more happy.
There's a teaser for the final season of Barry. It came out. I've not watched the teaser because I feel like Josh would get mad at me if I watched the teaser.
Oh, I would get very mad. A lot of spoilers.
But you've watched this teaser, right?
I watched it. I'm so excited.
It's only about a minute long. If you like the show Barry, you like the teaser probably. The poster looks cool. I love this final poster they have. Like this red door or whatever.
It's so good. Barry is one of my favorite shows of all time. It's an amazing dark comedy. Bill Hader co-created it and directs a lot of it. He is just amazing throughout the whole thing. It is so good.
And we have 2 more pieces of news. So you give me a yay on that, the Barry stuff?
Oh, very much so.
And I give a yay in the Little Mermaid trailer. You might give a nay, but fuck you.
I'll give it a passive yay.
We have 2 last pieces of news. Let's get into Tarantino is making currently his last film, which is number 10, which is always said he'll do 10 films and then be done. Which I respect that idea a lot. But
I respect it, but I don't know. I feel like, and with what his movie is, at least what it's called, The Movie Critic, which
That's
is
different.
It's
called The Movie Critic. It's called The Movie Critic. It follows a female lead in the 1970s in LA. Filming begins this fall.
I'm so worried that this is going to be like the most like filmmaker just tearing apart the idea of critics that has ever been seen on film. That's what kind of has me worried.
The top reply says, already better than Everything Everywhere All at Mid.
Oh, people
love Tarantino's way too much. I'm not saying that Tarantino's films, or I'm not saying that you're bad for liking them, or it's not good to like these films. They're not for me. I have seen 3 of his films so far and have not loved any of them and find him pretentious. Also really creepy.
Yeah.
But that's... Yeah. I'm going to give it a nay because I don't want to watch Tarantino's films.
I'm gonna give it a yay because I am curious if this is somehow just a like straight up drama, like no action, no nothing like that. I will honestly be very fascinated by that.
And our last news piece is the best part, better than anything Tarantino's ever done. We're getting a Good Burger 2.
The world is starting to be right again.
Yay. This is so fun. Seeing Cal start, well, welcome to Good Burger, home with the Good Burger, can't take your order. That made me so happy.
It's so clear that these two loved doing that back when they were kids, and they're very excited to do it again, so I am very excited for it.
Yay or nay on the Good Burger 2 announcement?
Oh, I'll give it a hard yay.
We are now on to our first main topic, and that is the Oscars.
A weirdly good Oscars.
Let's break some stuff down. Nominees overall, are you okay with the wins we got?
For the most part, I would say yes. I still haven't seen All Quiet on the Western Front, so I can't obviously judge its wins. But overall, I would say yes.
All Quiet on the Western Front winning best score hurt me because it's like 3 chords, like bum bum bum, a bunch of times, and that's it.
Like, I'm willing to bet that it works for the movie, but like, how do you not immediately give the score to Babylon? Just listen to Voodoo Mama, and you will instantly want that film to have all the awards.
Without the context of that being the name of a song, that's really funny to me.
Just go listen to Voodoo Mama. She'll tell you all about it.
I actually think All Quiet on the Western Front's score does not help the film in any way ever. It actually hurts the film.
Interesting.
I was watching the film like, this does not fit most of the vibe almost ever for me. Best Actor Award went to Brendan Fraser for The Whale.
Yes.
Natu from RRR won Best Original Song.
I'm so happy by that.
Everything Everywhere All at Once won Best Picture, Best Editing, Best Directing, Best Original Screenplay, and of course numerous and 3 acting awards, which we'll get to in a second. So, yay!
Every win that I got, I was so happy.
Avatar: Way of Water won Best Visual Effects.
I would have laughed my ass off if like Top Gun Maverick had won it, because Top Gun's effects are also very good. But I just would imagine like Cameron just like sitting at home being like, "That should have been my award."
Best PD went to All Quiet on the Western Front. That's fine. I can get behind that. Wakanda Forever won Best Costume Design.
As it should.
yeah, best editing was Everything Ever All at Once. And the cool part about that to me was it was literally 5 editors who were self-taught from YouTube,
which is
and
insane.
they used Premiere the whole time, and I would hate using Premiere the whole time for that movie.
The amount of crashing that probably happened.
Oh God, Women Talking won best adapted screenplay. I understand that. I see the movie. It's a good it's a hard to watch movie, but it's a good movie. Guillermo del Toro's Pinocchio won best animated feature.
Very happy.
Unfortunately, it wasn't Puss in Boots, Josh. I'm so sorry.
Oh, I want Pinocchio to be Puss in Boots. Love Puss in Boots, but Pinocchio was my pick.
I'm glad it wasn't the Sea Beast. It was just fine to me. Top Gun Maverick won best sound.
Cool.
Yeah. The Whale won best makeup and hairstyling. I'm kind of against that, but it's fine. Haven't watched any of the documentaries or the short films this year. I tried finding the short films online. I couldn't find most of them, honestly.
Yeah, I didn't see any of those either.
Then we get to our acting awards for Everything Ever All at Once with Ke Huy Quan winning Best Supporting Actor.
God, and I love his acceptance speech.
When he said, "Look, Mom, I just won an Oscar," I started crying.
Oh, same.
Because you all know Josh and I are filmmakers, and that moment of pure I didn't fail, I made it. That pure emotion broke me, and I have watched that speech a dozen times since then. That's incredible. And of course, we have Michelle Yeoh becoming the second woman of color ever in 95 years to win Best Actress.
That number needs to be a lot higher.
Halle Berry and her are the only two, which
oof
indeed. But we also have for Best International Feature Film, All Quiet on the Western Front, which I watched the movie dubbed in English. You could watch it subbed. And about 20 minutes in, I'm like, their lips, that's not in sync, is it? I'm like, wait a minute. I didn't realize that first when I was first watching it. I was like made in German, because Netflix automatically dubs a lot of things for you if you don't know. So that was interesting. Then we get to probably the most controversial category of the whole night, which was Best Supporting Actress. So look, Jamie Lee Curtis's win. I'm glad that in general Jamie Lee Curtis won an Oscar. I like that idea. She should not have won this year.
No, and I thought about this a lot. Obviously, I would rather have Angela or Stephanie win, because I think they both give more quote unquote Oscar worthy performances, and like her performance and everything was not bad at all. But I personally believe she won not just because her name on the ballot, but she's the only one from that category I saw really actively campaigning this award season. Aside from Key and Michelle, she was actively out there campaigning for the movie, and everyone else kind of really wasn't.
I think part of it is also a lot of Academy voters do not watch the movies.
Oh no, you look at the anonymous Oscar ballot people because that gets published every year. They are awful. They're just oh yeah, I heard my kids like this, so I'm gonna vote for that, and I never heard of this person, so I'm not gonna vote for them. I'm just like, what?
Right. And a lot of them will be like, oh, we have a white woman in this ballot, let's go for that one, because the racism is still very present in this industry, and it feels like, okay, we can't have them win every award category. We can't have the Asian people win all of them. Let's give a white person one of them. Like, that's so stupid. That's kind of a little bit of the vibe. Also, nepotism is a thing, very much still. I think she's a great person. I think Jamie Lee Curtis is a good human being from all accounts. I just think that Stephanie, she wasn't even the best supporting actress in that movie. Stephanie Hsu was. Have you seen Stephanie Hsu's audition?
Oh yeah, she's fucking fantastic.
She was asked to, can you just sing about the bagel? And she made that up on the spot, the stuff. That was great. Yeah, I think Angela Bassett was also great, but I think Jamie Lee Curtis's win is equal to about if Judd Hirsch won for The Fabelmans, because it's just you're in a few scenes, and not a lot of screen time you really have. It wouldn't really deserve that for supporting actor to me.
Nah, to me, it's equal to when Brad Pitt won for Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, because he won for Best Supporting Actor for that, and I was just like, really? It's not a bad performance, but it is not an Oscar-worthy performance. He beat Tom Hanks as Mr. Rogers.
Yeah, I fully agree with you on that one. Even so, it's not the right pick.
No. But
I think overall, having Everything Overall at Once win 6 awards made me really happy.
It won 7.
7 awards, my bad. Seeing Daniel... Are you counting two different directors? Is that why?
No, best picture, director, writing, editing, actor, supporting actress, and supporting actor. That's 7.
Yeah, you're right. Math, it's hard. Uh, I love seeing Daniel Shiner say, like, helping to say that drag isn't a problem and a threat to no one. That was great. I love hearing Daniel Kwan talk about growing up and trying to be in the industry as an Asian man, and also it was this is an incredible. Everyone for that movie had incredible speeches,
Yeah.
like, and it was so personal for all of them, and I really love that. I have no thoughts besides yay, mostly overall. I
I give a yay overall, but I'm scared for next year because if this year was as good as it was with its choices of winners, next year is gonna be awful.
I really though wish that the main kid from The Fablemans was nominated for Best Actor.
He should have been nominated for Best Actor. Michelle Williams should have been nominated for Supporting Actress instead of supporting and not supporting
Yes.
instead of lead actress.
I agree with that. She shouldn't have won. She wouldn't win Best Supporting Actress still. I think it should have still been Angela or Stephanie.
She wouldn't have won, but she would have had much stronger chances because she was going up against just Kate Blanchett and Michelle Yeoh alone.
Kate Blanchett was also amazing in Tar.
She was so good. When I saw it, I was just like, oh, Michelle could lose to her. Oh, no.
Yeah, personally, my choice for Best Actor this year would have been, if nominated, The Fableman's actor. But Brendan Fraser, I'm seeing his wholesome, his happiness and pure joy was also fantastic.
He was so good in The Whale. I was just like, God, I hope he wins. I would be very... If Austin Butler had won, I wouldn't have been mad, but I would have been disappointed because that just is the safe option.
Elvis won nothing.
I hate saying it because it makes me sound like that I hate the people that worked on it, but I'm happy that even the Academy can recognize that like maybe music biopics shouldn't always win stuff. But then it makes me mad that like Rocket Man didn't get nominated for anything aside from song when that came out.
It also kind of sucks that stuff like The Batman's overlooked because it's a comic book movie, but even people like Roger Deakins said it was the best cinematography of the year.
It's such a double standard. I hate it. And I think the only reason Black Panther got nominated was just because of how much of the popular zeitgeist it was in.
I mean, yeah, I mean, it also made an impact for a lot of people. So
I know it did, but like Batman, was talked about quite a lot since then. But yeah, it's annoying.
I also hate how Kimmel made the "keep your hands to yourself" joke. The Oscars.
I knew there was gonna be slap jokes. I knew it. I'm just like that's low hanging fruit. It's not even good low hanging fruit.
It's not like an apple or yeah, it's pretty bad fruit.
It's not an apple. It's a potato.
I also like that. I hate that Kimmel asked Malala, who was there supporting her film, for what she's been through and what she's supporting. Hey, did Harry Styles spit on Chris Pine? Know your audience. Know who you're talking to and what she's been through.
Just not like the last thing she would care about is that.
And then her response was so dignified and great. I only talk about peace. That was great. Kimmel is not funny to me almost ever.
When it's like the scripted stuff, then it can work. When he has to improvise stuff like that, I'm just like, this ain't funny, dude.
But that was the Oscars, Josh.
Far better than I expected.
You think so?
Yes, because I was going to stop watching it altogether just to watch The Last of Us season finale, which was at the same time.
I love how many people watched the Oscars for the first hour, left to watch The Last of Us, and then came back to finish the Oscars.
Yeah.
That was pretty hilarious to me. But now, Josh, it is time for our final topic. Are you ready for this?
Oh, I'm so ready for this.
So, Josh, take it away.
Alrighty, so the reason I am talking about this is because I love The Last of Us. Not just the show, but the games as well. As Sean annoyingly knows, I love it very much. So I asked if I could lead this segment because I just love talking about it, and because I have had more experience with the story and characters and stuff, I wanted to ask Sean more about what his experience was like for the first time experiencing the story. So we're going to kind of break the whole season down, go like episode by episode, just kind of talk about what we liked, didn't like, any kind of stuff like that, and give our overall impressions. We will not be talking about season 2 stuff. I know I won't because I know everything. He barely knows anything, and I wanted to stay as spoiler free as possible. But we're gonna go episode by episode, and we'll give our impressions first, so that way there's no spoilers. Then we'll go through every episode, and that will be your spoiler warning. If you haven't caught up with it, you'll be able to skip around, go to all the timestamps and stuff, and yeah, just general fun vibes. So, Sean, The Last of Us, you've seen it all.
It's sad.
It is. Is that your overall impression of it?
My dad, I want to talk about this first. My dad and I are both watching it. He was watching it on his own. We're having phone calls after each episode, like the day after, about the show. His thoughts were almost always opposite of mine. Like, he usually liked it, but had a complete opposite reaction to the episodes.
Interesting.
He thought it was overall a very uplifting and hopeful show. Like, every episode was like, he felt this because of the idea of, I will do anything to protect this person, kind of at drive. That's like a motivational, kind of inspiring idea, especially to him as a father of four. Like, he really resonated with a lot of what Joel does, despite being who Joel is and what he goes through. My dad loves the idea of someone who will do anything for someone else, no matter what, and that was cool to see. But I'm like, I wouldn't call a show uplifting personally. Like, there's moments, but the world's kind of shitty. I loved it. I love the performances. I think Pedro and Bella were both incredible. I think Anna Torv was amazing, and we'll get into performances more specifically with things. Henry, Sam, everyone, Pierce, actor Pierce, who was, Tommy and stuff, he was great. Kathleen was great. Like, everyone did a great job in performances. I'll talk about some specifics later on, but I overall had a really good time and I was really invested in watching this. Unfortunately, I could into the show knowing some things about the second game already, as well as some things about how this one ends a little bit. So I'm like, I know some of the tension is lost at certain points for me when I know some specific things. Does that make sense?
Yes.
I won't get into what I know or don't know, because that's not fun.
Correct.
Overall, I am very glad I got to watch this when I did and how I did. And Josh and I have joked about before how I'm the control group on the show for this season.
Yep.
Because we had the one who has seen it all and will judge that way. It's like if I had Josh and I watched The Last Airbender for the first time, but he hadn't seen the show. It's kind of like he's seen the show. My point is, if we did something like that, he'd be the control group reacting to it just as a movie, etc.
Yes.
Which also, not a great movie.
No.
I really love the removal of spores. I know people got mad at that play the game, but I think because of how spores actually work in real life, that wouldn't make sense.
Yeah.
Like, I guess it's cool, the idea of having Ellie not wear a mask where everyone else is. I'm guessing that's how the game works, as my assumption.
Yes.
Okay. I'm glad. I guess that's probably a cool idea to see visually, but also it makes more sense here to not have that. And the tendrils are also really creepy.
Yeah, and that's what I really appreciate as someone that has consumed this game for almost a decade and just play it over and over and over again. I've very much went into this with the mindset of like, this is an adaptation, and if it gets anything wrong, I will burn things. And very, very thankfully, this gets everything right and then some. I was so happy with the changes and the additions that they made, because the creator of this, Craig Mazin, who co-created with Neil Druckmann, were very much like, we gotta do this right. If we don't do this right, we're both dead. And they did such an amazing job.
One thing I think is pretty funny is that there are some race swapping in this show, which I'm not against. I'll get into this 1 second. I'm saying that I think it's interesting because there are racist people online, of course, naturally, who hate that they made Sarah a black girl instead of a white girl, stuff like that. What I think is interesting is this show actually makes the Millers an anti-racist family by having all of them date black women. Even down to Ellie. Like, everyone is interested in other races and openly to everyone around them. Like, they make a conscious effort to make the Miller family an anti-racist family, which is just staking it to racist people even more. And I like that small detail.
I love that the racists are still trying to be like, this show is too woke, and all the homophobes are like, this show is too woke. I'm just like, it has been like this ever since the first game came out. What is with you people?
I think it's funny how many people missed partner and what it meant in the game, apparently, for Frank.
The amount of people that are so brain dead when it comes to cinema literacy shocks me, because even at 14 when I first played the game, I got what they were doing.
So you want to go through the episodes, Josh?
Yes. So, episode 1, it is a big one. It is movie length. It's about an hour and a half. And boy, howdy, is it a doozy.
You start. I want to hear what you know.
So, as someone that has played the game a lot, I was very curious to see how they were going to do it, because the game basically just kind of starts out at night, where with Sarah, we play as her, and we kind of see the end of the world from her perspective. And that does happen here. But the episode actually kind of starts out in the 60s on this television show talking about what cordyceps are. And it was a very interesting way of getting across this idea of that this is not a zombie thing. It's not a zombie infection like we normally think of. It's a very real thing, and it makes it even more terrifying. And then we cut, to the future, and we follow Sarah, but we actually get to see her life and other things and get more of a sense of the family bond between her dad and her Uncle Tommy. And I really love that. And man, and again, we're going full spoilers for every episode, so there are timestamps down below.
If you listen to this and you've not seen episode 1 yet, I'm sorry.
Go watch the show, or if you don't care, then that's on you. When it gets to Sarah's death, man, that hurts just as much as when it happened for the first time when I played the game. I was heartbroken. I was crushed. Pedro and Nico are so good, and that broke me. And then
Tommy, help me!
I hate that he improvised that because it's so good.
And then just, Joel, that just hurts. But I want to talk about that opening you brought up, because that opening is incredible. That talk show at the beginning is amazing, and a brilliant way to showcase this world, because that's like snarky, we lose, and then the dead silence afterward is incredible. But amazing opening. I loved that. I love the details. I loved even just the way the lighting felt like the right aesthetic for it. Mm-hmm. It was really well done. One change in the game is they changed it from 2013 to 2003, which also means, Josh, Return of the King hadn't come out yet.
That is so disappointing. The world ended before they could see it.
Yeah, they got the first 2 movies in the trilogy.
That's a big oof right there.
A few months later, they would have gotten Return of the King. That's a shame. That's the biggest takeaway from the whole show, honestly. But in all honesty, this was a great first episode. The first half hour was absolutely incredible. I loved the watch detail.
Mm-hmm.
I love that once Sarah dies and that's when he rolls and breaks his watch. That's when time stops for him.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a really cool thing. And I know some people are like, they copied Doctor Strange, which I actually read someone say.
I'm just like, if I hear shit like that, I'm like, please go outside and touch grass. My God.
I'm like, that's not okay. Yes, you can use the same theme or thematic device in 2 different things. It's okay.
Yeah, and the broken watch is in the game, you dunderheads. It's used for the same effect. Great choice there. The idea of their neighbors, creepy grandma or old woman, great moment in the background. Mm-hmm.
This is one of those shows, much like watching Scream movies for me, I'm always looking behind people.
Yeah.
And I think they do a great job with that. I love the detail of not eating pancakes, not getting the cake, not eating the cookies made for them, or the biscuits. They do such a good job of pointing out how they stayed safe without the audience even knowing how yet.
Mm-hmm.
I love that detail. I love the fact that in class that day, there was a kid twitching in front of her.
Oh, I never noticed that.
Yeah. If you watch the first episode again, there's she's sitting in class as a kid, but 2 seats in front of her diagonally, whose arm starts randomly twitching a bunch.
Oh,
and she looks at it weirdly, and that's it. Yeah. There's so many small details like that I just really love. I've watched this episode so many times.
Yeah, I've only seen it twice, but it's such a great opening. And I was listening to the podcast for the show, and Craig Mason was talking about how this wasn't supposed to be an hour and a half. It was originally 2 episodes. That's why the season total is only 9. And then HBO, saw, because the first episode was supposed to end with Sarah's death. We flash forward, and then we have Joel burning the kid, and then we see Ellie in the window, and then that's it. That's where the episode ends. And HBO was just like, I mean, it's good, but I don't know if it's going to compel people to come back. And they're like, all right, we'll put the first 2 episodes together as one big thing. And I think that was a brilliant move.
Yes, it is. It's great. It's fantastic.
I really love how much of an effort the show makes a distinction that this isn't like zombies. They don't, go up, they don't eat people, because that's not how a fungal infection works. And it's very clear about this from the get-go. All it's trying to do is spread itself, and it'll do that by like biting people, using the tendril things that come out of their mouths to spread it, which is a great creepy addition. I loved it. There's a lot of different ways to go about it, but they are never eating people. They're never doing that. That's why people keep referring to them as infected, and I love that.
Right, it's one bite. It's not consuming them. I love that the time jump of 20 years later.
When I played the game for the first time and I saw that, I was just like, oh my god, that's so cool!
The first episode is pretty long, I'd say, Josh.
It's long, but it's paced out so well that you don't feel the length, and you want to see more, which is great. That's a sign that you've made something good. I'll fast forward to the end. We meet Ellie, played by Bella Ramsey, who is just absolutely incredible. She is so good as this character, and I want to see everything that Bella does in the future. And I still love her first interaction with Joel. Is Joel, like, she tries to stab him, and he just like body slams her into a wall, which I just think is really funny.
I agree. So Ellie is a girl who, this is pretty much discovered in the first episode. So seems to be immune. I'm saying that's like episode 1. We for that out. She has they have little monitors that scan for infected or not. They turn red or green. Red for infected, green for not. And they tested on her, and she is still, it says that she's infected. So the group called the Fireflies, which are a rebellion group fighting Fedra, which are the government. The Fireflies want to bring her out west to potentially try and meet some doctors, make a cure. That's like the basis of the whole show. In the future, in the 20 years later, in our current timeline, Joel has a girlfriend, partner's a better word to use. Not like a romantic partner, but there's been some history there, named Tess, played by Anna Torv, who's amazing, by the way.
This is a case of like adapting a character in a similar way, but also making it their own, and it works so well because I see Tess, but I see a different version of her, but it doesn't make the gamer and me mad at it. It's like, that's not exactly how it is, because it's a very interesting character nonetheless, and we'll see more of that as the show goes on.
Any final thoughts on the first episode, Josh, you think? I'm trying to think of anything. Good
Indeed. I was so happy with this, and as soon as the episode ended, I'm like, I want it all now. Give it to me now. The first episode ended, I'm like, the show's in good hands. I have no fears whatsoever.
Or were you mad that Pedro Pascal didn't have a full beard? Like, people were mad about that?
That was like my one thing. I was just like, Pedro's great, but he doesn't have a full beard. And now I'm like, I really don't care at all. He's great.
Or people were complaining that Bella's ponytail was too high, so she didn't have the little bangs in her face.
It's like, who cares?
Okay.
We gotta move quick on this. Episode 2, we get the clicky boys. They click a lot. They're creepy.
Explain that, Josh.
So there's different stages of the infection. You got the first stage where you run a lot, you bite a lot, and then once enough time has passed, the infection takes over you more and more, and eventually the fungus will sprout out your head, split it open. You just got a giant fungal thing, and you become blind. And because of that, you start clicking a lot, so you can see a lot. And boy, howdy, is it creepy.
The different things they built for this show were incredible. The production design of making these trucks and cars look, overgrown and stuff was really cool. And this episode 2 is really cool because we get to see how Ellie interacts with Joel and Tess, and how really she is just an angsty, sassy teen.
Yep.
That's all she is as her heart, because she's so defensive, and she has reason to be. She's great.
It's so good. And this one, it's not as good as the first episode, but that's not a bad thing either. This one is more so kind of from Ellie's perspective, because this is her first time outside the walls and really seeing what the world was like. So a lot of it is her asking questions like, oh, like, is this where they bomb the cities, and like, what are there like infected that are blind that can see like bats, stuff like that. So it's works for her character, but it also works for us of learning more about this world, and I thought that was really cool.
You bring up bombing. Let's talk about the opening scene opening sequence.
The opening. So this is the second episode where we get something that wasn't from the game. And it opens in, I forgot what the country is, but this is where the
Jakarta, Indonesia.
Yes, in Indonesia. This is where the infection started, and it started at a place that, uses wheat in a factory. And from there, that's where the infection started spreading. You have a infection specialist, I forgot what the name is, and she's just like, you know what I mean. She understands, she studies this stuff. And because of that, she sees an infected person who's been shot dead, and she's just like, oh, how many more? Oh, there are others? Oh yeah, we're screwed. You gotta bomb everything. It's the only way.
When they asked, can we get a vaccine? There's nothing we can do, because she doesn't study infection. She studies like mushrooms and fungus.
Yes.
So she's been studying cordyceps her entire life, which is the thing that causes the infection. And she literally tells him, bomb, that one word, and it was so chilling. And she like bomb everything and everyone in the city. And then she crying and asking, "Can I be with my family before for the end of it?" And that was great. That was really great.
It was very good. And then of course we flash forward, and Ellie is like, "Is this where they did the bombings?" Because it wasn't just there; it was everywhere. And they talk about how they bombed a lot of like the most major cities in the world, which again makes sense. The highest population to try to stop the spread. Obviously, it didn't work.
No, it did not. They did say it worked some places more than others, and it worked here okay. Because to be fair, there are people still left here.
Yes.
This is to be the weakest episode of all the series, personally.
I can understand that. In terms of moving the plot forward, it's only like a small bit, but it is important still, because they encounter the clickers. Clickers are very creepy. It's a great scene. But because of that, they get confirmation that Ellie is in fact immune from it, because she gets bitten again, and she's just like, "Are you gotta be kidding me again?" And she's just like, "Well, if it happened to one of us, I guess it had to be me." But then Tess is also bitten, and we don't know this until it is revealed that she is. But it is such.
That's how all stories work, Josh.
Yes, things get revealed at different points. It's weird. But she reveals that she's bitten, and what I love about this, because this is a change from the games. The games, I believe it's like you turn in like two days or something like that. It's a much longer
spoiler. In general, if he mentions the games, skip for like 10 seconds, guys, because if you don't want spoiled.
Yes, but in the games, it's a much longer frame of time before someone gets infected. Here, at the first episode, there's a chart that shows where you get bitten can determine how many hours you have before you turn. Like the leg, I think it's like a few hours. Arm, it's like maybe an hour. If it's like the neck area, you got maybe less than an hour before you turn.
Right, because it's based on your brain, so it makes sense.
Yeah, closer you are to the brain, the quicker you'll become infected.
That was cool. So they made it to the Firefly base after they got the clickers, and it's empty. They're all dead.
They're all dead because someone got infected.
And you said in the game before, that was military who were chasing them there and killed them, right?
Yes, this has always been the weird thing from it. They show up at the base and they're all dead, but there's never an indication of who killed them. And then the military show up after, so it wasn't them. So I have no idea what was up with that. But here they actually make it work, and the military isn't chasing them this time, which I greatly prefer that.
And this is the point where Tessa reveals she was infected on the shoulder. After Ellie's like, "Oh fuck, she's infected," because she figures it out first, realizing her behavior is frantic and weird.
Mm-hmm.
And I love the small details of like the second she actually gets infected, the rest of the episode she's incredibly tense, trying to rush to get there, being headstrong. Is like we have to get her as fast as possible because she believes that Ellie is the key.
And now Joel has once again lost someone that he cares about. You can tell that he didn't purposely try to get into a relationship type thing, but you can tell that he does care about her, and he's just like, and he's very saddened by this, but he's, built up this gruff exterior to himself that he's trying to hide it. But because Pedro is such a damn good actor, you can just see it in his eyes, and it's so good.
Right, because she even brings up how I'd never asked anything of you not to feel the way I felt, etc. So she likes him, and he likes her probably, but he can't reciprocate it. But I love the detail of like how Anna Torv plays Tess in this episode.
Mm-hmm. How
her entire demeanor switches. It's great.
It's so good.
Well, let's talk about the costuming and makeup of the clicker, though.
I'm so happy they went practical.
It's amazing, right?
It's so good.
Personally, I would be scared.
Oh, I would be horrified.
Also, they had like the Quiet Place monsters as like regular friends that I'm like, yes, but this came first.
Yes, so Quiet Place stole from this.
Stole, inspired, whatever. It's all film, art, games, whatever. But I also love that Tess takes some agency in this scene. Because there's a new thing in the games, right? Of the neural network for the infected.
Yes, the neural network was not a thing in the game. This is one of the changes they made, where basically if you like step over a fungal vine or something like that, then it could be felt for miles by the other infected, and they will rush to wherever it is.
Which is a really cool idea.
Yes, terrifying idea.
It comes up almost never again.
But I think that in the second season they'll probably use it a lot more.
Okay. But I liked it a lot. I think it was really cool that mycelial network, I think it's what officially called a fungus. But it was really cool seeing that, and I really loved that.
Tess sacrifices herself, blows the place to Kingdom Come, and it's a great way to end the episode.
But first, Tess makes Joel promise just to take Ellie somewhere safe. Take her to Bill and Frank, which is their friend who sends them codes.
Yes.
Because they'll know what to do with her.
And this is how we segue into episode 3. The best episode, and the one that is the most different from the game.
And the one that is probably my favorite episode of a TV show I've seen in a very long time.
Basically, this episode is not really about
gay.
Joel and Ellie. It's very gay, because it is about a man named Bill, played by Nick Offerman, and Frank. And it is basically just a love story between the two of them. That's it. That's all it is. And it's so good.
I think it was my favorite episode. I don't want to dive into this too much because we could be here all day, but this one episode.
Yes, we can go on for hours, but Murray Bartlett, who plays Frank, he's amazing. Nick Offerman, easily his best performance. They have amazing chemistry together. It's such a great love story, and the way it ends, I cry every time. It's so good, but God, what a great episode.
I'm old. I'm satisfied. Oh.
I wasn't scared until you came into my life.
Strawberries, Josh.
His laugh, the Nick Offerman laugh.
And that moment of like, call Joel. He'll help you. He'll protect you when he thinks he's gonna die. That's so powerful.
The letter at the end. This is what we mean. We could keep going forever, but we don't have the time.
Probably him having ALS was horrendous to watch, and it's so sad. And you have to have an actual happy, full love story. And yeah, people are like, it's a sad ending because they die at the end. Everyone dies in all of life.
They literally die as old men.
They didn't get infected. They had the best case scenario possible in this apocalypse.
Yes, this is what Neil Druckmann meant by this is the happy episode.
And we're not condoning suicide. We're not like advocating for suicide. We're saying that at the end, in this specific context of this specific world, where one of them is literally dying from an illness that will kill them anyway, or make them debilitated, instead letting them go on their own terms, or be bitten or raped or murdered by raiders, this is the best scenario possible. And they're going to live a full life together as pretty much a married couple. And they get married at the end.
It's so nice. And the music choice during Frank's last day is the same music from the beginning of Arrival. And that just broke my heart even more. I forgot what the song is called, but it's amazing.
I love that you associate famous like classical music with Arrival instead of like the actual composers and stuff.
I don't think it's classical. I think it was a somewhat recent piece of music.
Was it actually?
I thought it was.
Classical is a style, not a time period.
Whatever. We can't go too much into details. Okay, episode 4.
Wait, hold on 1 second, Josh, before you get there. We have to talk. There's important things in this quote we didn't touch on yet.
They get a truck.
Joel and Ellie arrive. They find them dead. Oh no. Ellie finds a gun after being told no repeatedly.
She really wants a gun. Joel's like, no, you're a child. No.
Which I have seen numerous reactors and stuff or like people online saying that. Why is she so like gun hungry? Why is she care so much? It's creepy. It's weird. Like, no. It's to prove that she is trusted. That's literally all she wants. All she wants is Joel to say, yes, I trust you with this weapon, knowing that I won't hurt you. That's literally it. I trust you to protect me. It's not about her wanting to shoot people. She's intrigued by violence early on when Joel protects her, but that's because she's being protected because someone's going out of the way to help her. That's what that's about.
Yes.
Not because, oh, look, pain. Episode 4?
Episode 4. Their truck crashes.
Immediately. Although I will say that I looked at the map, they have driven for like 200, 300 miles long. It's been a far drive still.
Yes. So they got some good distance.
Episode 4, we get to see a porn book.
Yes, the famous scene from the game. I'm so happy they put it in. It's great. This is another episode where I'm like, this is really good. I love it's got some great moments. It's not the strongest one for me, but I really liked it. I especially loved. This is again another big change from the game. Is the first time that Ellie basically hurts another person, and it's when they get attacked. They're going into Kansas City. Their truck gets attacked by people from the city, and they don't know who they are, and they crash. And Joel, because he is deaf in one ear, which we'll learn about later,
or mostly deaf, yeah,
mostly deaf. He doesn't hear a person come up behind him. He gets attacked, and then Ellie pops out of hiding and shoots the guy. And this is like the guy's like starts to like beg for his life and other things like that. And then
he shouts for his mom.
Yeah, it gets dark. Joel stabs him as she goes away. But this is a change from the game, because in the game they're going through a hotel. Joel's getting attacked by someone, and then Ellie it finds them and then kills the guy. And Joel kind of goes like, why didn't you listen to me? Stay where you are, blah, 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 that whole kind of thing. And Ellie's just like, dude, I protected you. You'd be dead without me, like, not listening to you. It's a very kind of like parent thing, like, you should have listened to me instead of getting yourself into danger. But here, Joel recognizes that Ellie is not comfortable with what just happened, and it's like, she's clearly is not feeling the right kind of emotions. And so he's just like, basically goes like, thank you for doing what you did, but you shouldn't have had to do that. That shouldn't be what you had to do.
I think it would have been really fine either way, but I like it a lot too.
Yeah, and then he gives her a gun, and then he teaches her how to, like, properly hold it and use it, because he's like, he recognizes this is only for emergencies. Don't use this, but here's how to use it if you have to.
I also think it's a little odd to me that he doesn't ask her how she got her gun.
But, well, again, that's another thing, because he recognizes that that's not what's important in this moment.
Right. It was cool. Good episode, mostly. We got to see Pierce, who played Tommy in the game, in this episode.
Yes, Jeffrey Pierce. Love that man. He's great in this. And we get a new character, Kathleen. She is the leader of the resistance in the Kansas City quarantine zone.
Kathleen sounds like Umbridge to me. She's too sweet.
But that's what I love about her. She's got this kind of like motherly kind of like presence about her, and it just has a darkness inside of her. It's so cool.
I like this episode for the most part a lot. It's mostly just a Joel and Ellie bonding episode, honestly, and trying to avoid being captured.
Yeah, pretty much.
Kathleen is the one that accused, like you said. She wants a boy named, or someone named Henry. We have no idea why at this point, but she's very adamant about it.
Yes.
She also ignores what looks like it'd be a sinkhole at first, after being pointed out, but a sinkhole starts moving, which is unusual for sinkholes.
Sinkholes shouldn't move.
No. And then she's like, we'll get to it after. Henry's not my 7th priority, Perry. Is he your 7th priority? I'm like, maybe. Like, I don't know this dude. It's fine if he is. This was my second least for episode for me. I thought it was good, and it's not a plot problem. I think it's not. People call it filler. I don't think people know what filler means, because it's not that.
They really don't. Like, just because the plot isn't moving forward doesn't mean it's a filler episode.
It's moving character forward.
Yes.
Also, plot does move forward, just not in the way you think it's going to move forward.
Yeah. But we go into episode 5 now, and episode 4 ends with Joel and Ellie bonding. Joel laughs at one of her puns. He is opening up more. He is growing as a character. Crazy. But they wake up with 2 people pointing guns at them, and that's us. That's the person, Henry, the one that Kathleen's looking for.
We see a little boy who we learned his name is Sam, with orange paint on his face, and he is shushing them when they wake him up.
Yes.
So, fun way to open an episode. I love the asshole voice line.
Uh-huh.
It's great. Great episode, great time. Sad episode 5.
Yes, it's a sad episode, but very good. Yeah, Henry and Sam, I love them in the game, and I love them in this. I really appreciated the changes made to Sam. In the game, he's around Ellie's age, but here he is like 8, and he is also deaf. So that's just another added layer. But both actors that played Henry and Sam are fantastic.
Also, the same actor is an actual deaf actor.
Yes, it is. He is so good.
Fantastic performances all around. So Henry and Sam, what's happened in their story, Josh? What's going on with them?
So basically, Sam was dying. He had leukemia, and there was possibility to save him through medication from the government. But the only way that they were going to give him that medicine was if he ratted out who the leader of the resistance was. And the leader of the resistance, was Kathleen's brother. Now, her brother was a much more kinder and forgiving man and wasn't really using violence as a way to, get rid of the government. But then, he died because of that, and Kathleen took over, and she was just like, all right, I'm gonna burn everything because of this. And yes, they were able to get rid of the government from that, but it also set her on the path of revenge, which ultimately leads to her downfall.
You've not finished Mockingjay.
Correct.
What did you remember about the book?
I just know that Snow dies, and Katniss also shoots Julianne Moore's character.
Coin, yeah. Kathleen is like Coin. We will burn down this system that's terrible, but we'll implement a system that's almost the exact same.
Yes.
And at the same time, we want to punish you the same way too. Well, we'll have you raped, murders, and tortured us for 20 years. We'll do it right back to you. That's not how that should work. That's just the same cycle. So I really liked that detail of her being terrible mostly, but also her overthrowing the QZ after being tortured for 20 years. To make her a complicated person, because she's not the worst person on earth, honestly.
No, and that's a thing that I enjoy from the game, is that, yes, there are monsters, not just the literal, but also as humans, but there's also very complicated people that you have to kind of look at the circumstances of the world they live in to understand why they're doing what they're doing.
Henry ratting out her brother to save his brother, I would do the same thing for my siblings.
Same.
Everyone I know would. It's not a personal thing. Like, yeah, it's a complicated situation, and he says, I'm a bad guy because I did a bad thing. You did a complicated thing, and it makes you a complicated person. I think one of the biggest things about the show is that morality is relative.
Yeah.
That's like one of the biggest takeaways of all time, is that morality is only what we deem it is.
Yep.
And I think that's really fascinating. We get to see some bloaters, or one bloater, a big boy.
Yes, this is the final stage of infection. You've been infected for a long time, then your whole body becomes covered in fungus. You become super tall, super strong. You rip heads off of people. It's creepy.
I think the bloater though pulled me out some, honestly, because it felt like more like a monster and less like an infected thing. Less like I'm one to spread.
Yeah, but I'm thankful that there's only the one throughout the whole show.
Yes, I agree with that. But you said the point, it feels like a good video game fight, but not much for the story. Doesn't feel like it makes full sense to me. Kathleen is complicated, and I'm really glad she gets eaten by a little zombie girl.
Yes, but tragically, the episode ends in tragedy, and another change that, in another
Tragically, the episode ends in tragedy.
I'm not wrong.
That's true, you're not wrong.
But in another change from the game, there's a similar scene of Ellie and Sam talking about like what they fear most, like in the world and stuff like that. And
how does he communicate though?
He has this little, I don't know what it's called, but it's like a little...
It's magic paper. Look it up. It's a real thing, like from the early 2000s.
Okay. Basically, it's a way for him to be able to write to people that don't know sign language. And he just like lift it up, and then you can just start writing all over again. So you don't need like dry erase markers and stuff like that. And that's how they communicate. But
it uses like magnetic dust, like how Etch-a-Sketch does.
Yes. But this is how Sam reveals to Ellie that he got bitten during the whole giant infection fight that happened before. And
that sinkhole last episode was not a sinkhole that they were ignoring. It was an infected underground they were ignoring that all broke out.
Yes, because the government drove them underground. And Kathleen did not deal with it as she should have. And that kind of messed everything up for them. But yes, Sam got infected, and Ellie is just like, I'm immune. My blood is medicine. And she, tries to heal him. Sadly, it does not work, and Sam gets infected, and he dies. And then Henry is the one that ends up killing him to save Ellie. But it doesn't end well for Henry either, because he cannot live with what he had done. And you can kind of see where that goes. So it ends quite sad.
That "what did I do" moment, and the Joel saying "give me the gun, Henry" is so sad. Ellie's pure fear and her scream is haunting.
Mm-hmm.
That whole scene, and it's right after I'll tell them kids in the morning that you'll be going with us, kind of thing. It's so sad. Because for new viewers, you don't know for sure if Henry and Sam are going to come with them or not. I had the knowledge knowing that they wouldn't. So I knew that they probably wouldn't make it. It was a matter of how and when.
Mm-hmm.
Also, it's kind of hard to believe that characters will make it out alive when episodes 1, 2, and 3 prior killed every new character we saw, pretty much. Like, it makes it a little harder to trust what what's gonna happen to someone.
Mm-hmm.
It's a very powerful episode. I love episode 5 overall.
It's very, very good.
We had a slight break in recordings, everyone.
What?
So there's
Breaks?
any audio differences?
There was no break. There's nothing. It's all good.
Nothing like a 5-day break between part of recording this.
Shh, they can't know things.
So if we have like 2 episodes back to back next week, it's because we finished this a little later and we record the next one right away. So if there's a weird tonal energy shift in our part of recording from 20 seconds ago to now you know why.
It's all chill.
Have fun editing this part, Josh.
Of course. We left off on episode 6. Sad things happened in the last one, so now we're just like, hopefully no sad things will happen in this one. Oh, but sad things do happen in this one, as per usual. Joel and Ellie find Joel's brother, Tommy. He's now a mountain man, and we all love mountain men, right? He's got a mustache now. Everything seems fine. He's gone into communism. He's married. It's great! What did you think of this episode, Sean?
This is the episode I told you before. I turned off in the first 5 minutes.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
For a good, 20 minutes. I'm like, nope. And I contemplated, do I really want to watch anymore? And it's not because I wasn't actually interested still in the rest of the story. We go from an interesting thing happens. We get see what happened at the end of the last episode again. And it did not feel good to see that again. Or for my dad, who watched the 2 episodes back to back. Episode 5 and 6. Then we flash forward 3 months later.
Ooh. And
that's when I said, nope, paused it and turned it off. I don't enjoy, in general, when we're already well into a story, a massive, a decent time jump that we don't go fill in those blanks at all. And we really don't, and that still frustrates me a little bit. Because I know you told me before that's how the game is structured, correct?
Correct, exactly the same way.
I don't care. I'm mad about it. Because, the entirety of episode 1 through 5 is not very long in terms of time. I guess if you don't count the 20-year jump, I don't care. That's not what I'm talking about. That's still the first episode. That's still establishing Act 1 of the story. But I mean, it's probably 2 months maximum. And that's we get see pretty linearly at the events unfolding with the 2 characters. And then to just miss 3 whole months of time, which seems like a longer amount of time than we've seen them together already, over double amount of time. It feels like a lot of just loss of character and story to me. But I can get past it because Pedro Pascal's crying in a shed scene made me happy. I mean, it's sad, but good performance. So I'm like, this episode alone, that part alone made the whole episode amazing to me. And I know game people were like, just get over it. I'm like, shut up. I wanted to see that character development because we went from pretty much your cargo, and then we see the moment in episode 5 of burying Sam, and then that longing of, oh fuck, I don't want to lose her like this. But only the beginning is really of that fully, of him realizing he starts to really love this girl, and then we go next episode, this episode 6, 3 months later, and it's I would die for her. I would do anything. I'm sobbing in a mess over her. I feel like we have a bit of a jump there. In those 3 months, I would like to see those bonding a bit more. Even a few moments, just throughout the 3 months. You could have done every few weeks, just shown a little bit of them moving along or something. But I get it. It's fine. We get to see Pedro cry. It's whatever.
Yeah, I remember you messaging me about that, and I was just like, that's interesting, but I just, whenever I think about it, I'm just like, it gives us enough to see the bond without needing to see the bond, not just in the first 5 episodes, but in the first 15 or so minutes, we see that Ellie has learned how to track, how to protect, and all these other things, and it gives us the impression of that they have grown and they've gotten closer and everything like that. And I believe we don't ever have to fully see every single minute thing when they've already been setting it up and establishing stuff like that beforehand. It was the same deal I had in the game. When it jumped 3 months, I was just like, oh, cool. And I didn't ever think twice about it because the world building, character building, and all that had been so well done that it's easy to see the natural progression of it.
I don't need to see every minute detail. I wanted to see some of that progression that we missed from that. That's all. Just a little bit. It's the same problem I had with Ant-Man and the Wasp when we missed a lot of stuff with Cassie and the family bonding, and I I brought up in the last episode about how I'd like to see a little bit more of that before we go into the quantum realm. But like in the end, it's not a huge deal. It's just like, oh, come on, kind of thing. And because I can't pause a movie in the theater, be like, hey, wait, it's fine. But I of course came back to it. I finished the whole show. I love this. I love the show overall. I'm making it very clear. I could have a critique and want something to happen that doesn't happen without ruining a whole show for me.
You're not allowed to critique art. How dare you? That's unlawful.
We get to see an amazing indigenous couple
They're
living
great.
alone.
And the husband, I forgot the actor's name, but he plays a character in Red Dead Redemption 2. As soon as I heard his voice, I was just like, it's that guy! And I was so happy. It was so cool.
I love the wife in that so much. You made him food? Yeah.
There are Firefly people?
That was great. Great dynamic. Cool seeing them, Ellie and Joel work together though overall. It's cool. And I know, literally cool because winter.
Yes.
And we see them go through snow and whatever, and Joel's struggling because he's an old boy who is sad.
He's an old boy that's sad. He's starting to get fun panic attacks of love. He's starting to see his daughter when she's not really there. It's fun. It's all fun and happy.
Panic attacks of love?
He's having panic attacks because he's feeling love, and it's scaring him.
He also has a lot of trauma and stress in his life.
Only the love. That's what it is. It's nothing else. Nothing else piled on top at all.
They get surrounded by it might be raiders, might be someone, hunters, cannibals, killers, we don't know. Joel's like, I'm just looking for my brother. One woman's like, who? What's your name? And it's like, Joel. And they're like, next scene, they're at their camp.
It's like, you're gonna give a last name, dude? Because, like, that's a very common name.
I am the only Joel with a brother.
There is no one else but me.
And they go and they find Tommy. And that moment is very heartwarming.
It's very nice.
And they live in a commune, like Magneto did in Dark Phoenix. That's the only other commune in history.
They are communists. Tommy doesn't realize this. It's a great, hilarious moment. I loved it.
All hail communism. And no, I'm not joking. But also, I fucking love that moment so much. Because he doesn't realize that, wait a minute, I'm a commie?
I'm a dirty commie?
But of course, Joel interrogates Tommy on, where is the Firefly doctors? Where are they?
Where are they?
He's like, you take Ellie. She's immune. Please, I'm old and scared and fragile.
I'm Thad.
And I will just get her killed. I'm getting weak. He's like, I'm weak, Tommy. I'm weak.
It is such a great, all joking aside, it is an amazing scene. It just really showcases how great of an actor Pedro is.
Oh, truly. Both him and Gabriel Luna, that's the actor name, right?
Yes.
Both were great. I love the subtlety on both of their faces as well, for most of the scenes in general. Ellie overhears Joel talking to Tommy about, you take her, I can't. And Tommy agrees, despite having a pregnant wife.
Yeah, this is kind of the one sort of change that I think works a lot better here, because in the game it's a similar scene, but it's nowhere near as emotional, and it's more kind of like Joel, because in the game they're still on good terms. Well, no, they're actually not on good terms with each other. They had a falling out, but Joel's kind of like, you owe me, I protected you all these years, blah blah blah, but he never opens up emotionally about it. And then Tommy's just kind of like, okay, yeah, I guess I'll do it. But here it's like you actually see them, talk it out, see his emotions, and it makes far more sense why Tommy would be like, okay, fine, I'll do it. I'll do it for you, dude.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of people get mad online of how they made Joel too emotional, too sensitive, too vulnerable. I'm like, you made him a human being. They let him actually have a character like that who's that stoic actually be able to have a moment of vulnerability and express his feelings, makes the character stronger overall.
They're gonna lose it when the God of War show does similar stuff.
I'm excited for Chaos, Josh.
Chaos is fun.
I love the detailing, of course, because Ellie overhears that whole or at least part of the conversation.
It leads to a great scene between the two of them. That's basically line for line exactly how it is in the game.
Yes, I've seen a lot of clips when people have when the show does things that are very similar to the game. There's often like the comparison videos people do, and it was really great. I love the "I'm not her, line.
Mm-hmm.
Just don't, and that was so good.
I kind of like him saying don't say another word instead of You're Trying on Somebody Thin Ice. Both of them are great, but just again, it's all about Pedro's ability as an actor, and just you can hear the hurt in his voice. He's just like, don't just stop, please. It's so good.
And I think the "I'm not hurting" line from Ellie about Sarah is maybe her strongest delivery in the show at this point so far. What do you think of episode 6?
Episode 6, it was good, fun, sad times. I loved the sadness. I loved the acting. Overall, me enjoy.
I like 6. Episode 6 called something.
An episode.
I don't know that. I don't know almost any titles in this show, actually.
I don't know things.
I know Long Times, episode 3. It's called The Dog That Almost Killed Ellie.
Episode 6 is called Kin.
Oh, that makes sense.
So, episode 7, titled Left Behind, which is the same
I knew
name.
that title.
It's the same name as the DLC, and coincidentally, that's what this episode is about, the DLC, which is when Ellie is trying to take care of Joel, and she, in her sadness, flashes back to before meeting Joel with her friend Riley, and the fun adventures they have together in a mall that doesn't end tragically at all. That ends all happy dandy and everything is all good. There's no sadness at all. I definitely didn't cry many times by the end of this episode.
Yep, cool. So episode 9 then, right? We're moving on.
Jumping to 9, completely skipping 8. Again, as the whole show, it's great for a fan like me to see, but getting a whole episode for the DLC that just to show their friendship was so great, and just to have it focus solely on Ellie and Riley's friendship and the highs and lows of it was so nice. It was great. But yeah, Storm Reed that plays Riley, she was great. She has such fantastic chemistry with Bella. I would have loved to see an entire show with the two of them. But sadly, that doesn't happen, of course, because again, everything has to be sad.
This episode's really cool because it's really gay.
It is quite.
And if you look at this image I'm showing you, Josh, look at the lighting. I told you this before. It's the lesbian flag. The lighting in the episode in the mall.
Yeah, gayness.
It's all. You see my comparison here?
Mm-hmm.
The entirety of the mall is lit up by hues of orange, yellow, pink, and purple. Like, that's all the lighting they use pretty much in the mall. A few times there's green because they had to have included other colors, but the dominant colors the whole time are those colors. And I think that's great. Because if you didn't know that Ellie was already gay, before this episode started, they foreshadowed it with lighting. This episode is great. I really love it. I think it's fantastic. Her friend Riley joined the Fireflies. Ellie's in Fedra school where she is taught to kill fireflies.
So a bit of a tension and rift there.
Mm-hmm. Star-crossed lovers, Romeo and Juliet.
I think one of my favorite things from this episode was Ellie just kind of discovering everything like that's in the mall, like escalators, the Victoria's Secret shop, like all these kinds of things, and just being like, whoa. It was so much fun. I
love the small moments in this episode so much. The longing looks they give each other before they say anything about anything.
Mm-hmm.
Because neither of them want to say feelings because it's a friendship. You don't want to risk something.
And they're also kids too. So they don't really know what these feelings fully are.
And there's small moments. So, for instance, you mentioned the Victoria's Secret shop, and they're trying to picture themselves being adults, and like, what would that actually be like? What would one of those things be like? And it's not in a sexual way. It's like, I wonder what that's like being an adult and having a romantic partner. And it was cool seeing, like, you could see her mind thinking about, like, her own future and imagining that.
Mm-hmm.
And that was a cool detail. Like, Bella's a great actor.
She so good.
And I love the detail, like you said, about her discovering the mall, Riley bringing her there. And she brought her there for a last night, because Riley is leaving. She's stationed to leave the next day in the morning to go to Atlanta, Georgia, where she'll never see Ellie again. Yeah. And so this is a last night to say goodbye and give her a great time.
I thought another interesting aspect to the episode was because Ellie's been raised in Fedra school, she's been raised to believe that the Fireflies are terrorists and all these things. So there's a very interesting like dynamic between the two of them, because like you can kind of tell that Ellie doesn't really know what to believe about it, but seeing like Riley like talking about everything and seeing that she has like bombs there that the Fireflies are telling her to like look after, she's like starting to question like, is that what my friend is? Like, is this what they are? And like, it's very interesting, especially given the world of politics and everything. Indoctrination, that's the word I was looking for.
I'm impressed by this episode so much. I've seen this episode a few times now. It's probably the one I've seen the second most times. I also watch reaction videos of people watching shows and movies a lot, and one that people really gravitate towards overall. I know people have said before it breaks the pacing of the show overall because we go from Joel's been stabbed and he's like, bleeding out and dying. Let's cut away to a mall episode.
But what's so funny about that is like it literally cuts from Ellie because the episode starts with Ellie trying to keep Joel safe.
She dragged him into a house from outside.
Yeah, and basically kind of like find a way to like patch him back up. But Joel's just like, no, leave me, I'm dying. Like, there's nothing that you can do about it. Go find Tommy, get out of here. And before Ellie can leave, she kind of like stops and like before she can open the door, and that's when we flash back to this, and that's what she's thinking about is what happens here because it's such a defining moment in her life.
Right. This episode is why she decided not to leave Joel.
Like, it is very important to her character. This is not a filler episode, as so many people say. Again, people don't know what a filler episode is. I'm worried how much TV these people have actually consumed. I think one of my favorite changes this episode was when they're in the arcade playing Mortal Kombat 2 together, because in the game all the arcade machines are broken, and it leads to a really cool moment of Riley like telling Ellie to like close her eyes and imagine that she's playing the game. It leads to like you pushing the same buttons and stuff and seeing Ellie's facial expressions. But I really liked seeing the two of them actually get to play the game together. I thought that was a lot of fun.
Yeah, it was really cool. This episode ends in tragedy.
Yep.
Which you kind of know from the beginning, because if you remember episode 2, Ellie says she got bit in the mall. Were you alone? And she's like, yup, definitely alone. No one else was there. She said yes, like very sketchy. And so we know someone else was there, and we know that person probably isn't around anymore.
Yeah, in the first episode, Marlene talks about when she's with Ellie, she's like, was Riley a terrorist? And so you can kind of figure out that was probably her. And then when it's just like, oh no, something sad's about to happen.
And you spoke of the arcade specifically in this, and of course we look away from the arcade. We follow a trail of groaning into a doll store, a creepy doll store.
We love creepy doll stores.
Where an infected is there. That's no bueno.
No.
I'm actually kind of surprised that this happened though. That we're still infected there at all, considering the fact that they stationed a child there alone.
Yeah, it's fine.
Like, the Firefly stationed Riley in the mall, but we see an infected there, despite the fact that, the Fireflies cleared it all out. There's no infected there. How thorough a sweep did they do? They didn't check every room. That was like a very open room.
It was fine. It was enough.
Good enough. Send the child in. And they have a moment where they're dancing together to some funky music on a Halloween store counter, which looked like it was going to fall through because it's made of glass. And then they kiss. Ellie says, don't go. Riley says, okay. But that's when hinky-dory stuff is no longer happening.
They get attacked by Mr. Infected, and they both get bit.
Mr. Infected! I was picturing the song Domo Arigato Mr. Roboto as you said that, too. So, like, I don't know. Mr. Infected, Domo Arigato. Of course, we know we have the wonderful thing called dramatic irony, which is where you know something the character doesn't know. And we know that Ellie will be fine.
But Riley will not.
Yeah. And it sucks also. Because we also heard, in one of my favorite moments in episode 5, which I wanted to touch on then, but I couldn't because spoilers, Ellie said it wasn't her first kill in episode 5. It wasn't the first time she's hurt someone like that in episode 5. Implying, and this kind of implied that it was Riley.
Mm-hmm.
Because, well, if they both are infected, and then Ellie doesn't actually get infected, she has to be the one to kill Riley.
Yep.
And that's a sad thought.
Yep.
But because Riley's dead, that's when we flash back to Joel dying on a table.
Things are just sad all around.
Take it away, Josh. What's going on here?
Huh?
Tell me explain the situation. Go on.
He's dying. She sews him up, and everything's hunky dory.
That is our word of the day, everyone.
Hunky dory.
Hunky dory. Put it on a t-shirt. That's kind of how the episode ends here too, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
Do you have any other thoughts on this episode?
I love it. It broke my heart all over again. I thought their relationship was great. Taken too soon. Yes, fun times. Fun sad times. So 7 ends sadly. Does 8 end sadly too? Yeah. 8's a bundle of fun, of sadness and darkness and So Ellie is hunting stuff. She's looking after Joel while he still be dying, but he not be dying as fast. But she needs medicine, and that's when we run across, David. David. This is a very fun, creepy character. He was played by Nolan North, aka Nathan Drake, in the game, which was a lot of fun to figure that out.
I thought you were gonna say in this. I'm like, no, he's not, Josh.
No, he is not. He's not played by him. His right hand man is played by Troy Baker, though, the original actor of Joel. So that was fun. But David runs kind of this little community similar to like what Maria and Tommy do, but it is nowhere near as functional. They are pretty much out of food. They are mourning the death of, surprise, surprise, the guy that Joel stabbed, because they are not far from where he was stabbed. So David and Troy Baker decide that they're going to go out and try to, keep the peace and not worry people, go hunting, see if they can find something. And that's when they run across Ellie, who hunted a deer.
I love that you said David as in the character and Troy Baker the actor.
Yes. Troy Baker
not
the
James
actor.
The character.
No, not James. Troy Baker.
The episode opens with the Bible verse of David reading to his commune.
Yes, this is a very fascinating addition that I really loved, because David, it's really kind of left a mystery as to what this guy's deal is when you first meet him. But here we get to see that he's kind of like this religious head of this community that very clearly is lost and has no direction, and he sees himself as that person to give them the direction. And of course, religion is a fun thing to do with that, of showing he's a good guy. Actually, he's awful. He is the worst.
Whenever someone in a slow monotone voice reads the Bible, especially an opening in a mostly horror-y kind of show, I'm not going to trust you for a second.
Expect bad things. But I'm
not saying Christians are bad. I'm not saying the Bible is necessarily bad. I'm just saying that in context of storytelling, it is often used to manipulate people, as it's often used to manipulate people in real life as well.
Correct. But I really loved when David and Troy Baker, again, not James, Troy Baker, come across Ellie, because she's found a deer, and she leverages the deer for getting medicine for Joel. They seem to not know who she is, and she doesn't know who they are. And again, through a fantastic scene between David and Ellie, just kind of there's a lot of tension between the two of them. He slowly reveals that he knows who she is, and it's so good. The tension is so well built up. The actor that plays David, he plays him not at all like Nolan North did, but it works very, very well. It's similar to Melanie Linsky's character.
Kathleen
plays it a lot like she did, kind of giving this, but more so presenting I'm a warm, comforting figure. I'm someone that you can trust. But you know there's something wrong. You know there's something off with him. You can't quite place what it is yet. And we find out cannibalism. That's one of the things, at least.
You're jumping ahead quite a little bit, but yeah, that's true. It's no bueno. I love that Ellie calls both of them Buddy Boy.
Uh-huh.
I think that's great. Ellie intimidates them. Drop your weapons!
I love her intimidation voice. It was great.
It's like if an 8-year-old trying to do a Batman voice. Ah!
I'm tough. Put your weapons down.
But yeah,
were you able to put together before they revealed that was what was happening?
No.
You could. Okay. Because
I didn't think. It's not like I couldn't. I just didn't think about it. It was not in my head. It was just. It was weird.
Could you give a feel? Yeah. Were you getting a feeling that something was off?
Sure, but I didn't get it until she said, "You're eating people." Wait. And I because I didn't even put together that body down below was a person. I just thought it was meat. I don't know bodies. I don't know bodies that were severed and already cut up. Because we saw a look through her cage down below at intestines and stuff all spilled out, but we didn't know. That just was a pile of intestines. I don't know it's a person. Also, David's a rapist, or probably is, but also trying to be.
I'm going with he most likely was in his past life.
Yeah, he has this whole monologue about how he has a violent heart and always did. And he picked up the Bible and stuff after the apocalypse happened to help manipulate people.
Yeah. Plus, he also mentions that he was a teacher, which that was
the grossest part of all this, because he wants to do bad things to Ellie.
Yeah.
And the way he puts his hands on her hand and stuff, and I was so uncomfortable. Literally, the second he was talking to her outside in this very like lovey way, I'm like, you're creepy. Nope.
And
Uh,
it gets worse.
it only gets worse. Yeah, they captured Ellie. Joel managed to wake up because the penicillin worked, plus a
Yes.
lot of adrenaline, a lot of adrenaline.
Oh yeah.
'Cause penicillin would not work that fast like that.
But as soon as he realized, like, because Ellie also gives him a knife, and it's just like, because they go looking for Ellie, they follow her tracks, and she basically gives him a knife and says, "There's guys looking for us. I'm gonna draw them away from you, so that way they don't attack you or kill you or anything." And once Joel finally gets the strength, he's just like, "Ellie, where are you? Roar!"
And he slaughters everyone in his path.
He does. He's got the torture scene from the game. It's great. I would have preferred if it had the cold, harsh blue lighting from it, but you know what? I'll take what I can get. It was a great scene.
But I also like in this, both in the episode, I'm sure in the game as well, that Joel does not save Ellie; she saves herself.
Yes, that was different. Well, no, in the game she does she does the same thing, but when she's like hacking into David's face with a machete, not a cleaver, he kind of like rushes in and like pulls her off, and then the scene plays out similar. But in this, she actually like just keeps going and then eventually stops and then walks out on her own. That's the only difference.
With a butcher's cleaver.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
but it was so satisfying.
And the fact that Ellie killed original Joel in this, Troy Baker, also interesting.
It was honestly kind of funny.
Poetic.
But weirdly. But I love that scene when she bites David and basically just to say, "I'm infected now, you are too," to kind of give herself any amount of time to get out of the situation.
Right, whether they were going to do inappropriate things to her or eat her, which are both inappropriate, you know what I mean?
Eating a person is inappropriate.
What?
I said eating a person is inappropriate.
Yes, but you know what I'm trying to say.
I got it.
Whether they're going to assault her in one way or another, now she bought herself time by saying that she's infected. And that was a great call. And like her left, but of course David brought up an amazing point of, unfortunately, people who are infected don't fight as hard to stay alive.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's how you know. I don't like that he is a smart person.
Yeah, that makes him even more terrifying.
Because there are evil people who are also smart, and I don't like that. I think David is the scariest part of the show so far.
100%.
By far. Because that's a real person that exists in our world, you know?
Yeah.
Ellie burns the place down, and where are the townspeople?
They're out. They're sleeping.
It's the middle of the day.
Look, again, in the game, Joel's like slaughtering everyone, Ellie too, just to get out of there. So it makes sense that there's not really people here. They're sleeping. That's what I'm chopping it up to.
Yeah, like 2 p.m. whatever. Yeah, no problem.
Yeah, it's fine. So Ellie stumbles out, bloodied and everything, terrified, and that's when Joel shows up, and he calls her baby girl when he sees that like she's covered in blood and something happened. He doesn't know what, and all he can think is just to comfort her. And he calls her baby girl, which he hasn't called anyone since Sarah.
The fact that when he touches her, she pulls away, yells, and says, "Get off me, get off me!" And then he has to basically force her to turn around and see him. And her face is melting, knowing it's a safe person.
Mm-hmm.
It's okay, baby girl. You're safe. It's me. You're okay. And I got you. Broke my heart.
Yeah. This is again. It's a very minor change, but in the game we don't hear what they're saying to each other, but we know what they're saying. And here we get to hear it, and I'm like, you know what? I'll take it. I'm happy I'm hearing this.
It was sad.
It was sad.
I love that he also never in the future asks questions because he doesn't care. As long as she's fine.
Yep.
Because you don't want to make someone relive their trauma. They don't have to. If they want to tell you what happened, that's fine, but do not pry. He was just glad that she's okay. That's all he needed. Then we get our finale. Josh, this finale is interesting.
This was the one I was very curious to see how people's reactions would be. Because obviously, if you've played the game, you know how it ends. And for the most part, I've never seen any like negative reactions to it online. I've just seen people be like, I do agree or I don't agree. And so I was very curious, would it be a similar reaction to it? Or would it be like very much like, this show is the worst. How dare they do something like that? And I have seen some reactions like that. I'm just like, you've completely missed the point of what they're doing.
I've only seen so far pretty much that just was it right or wrong kind of reactions.
Oh no, I've seen that too, but I've seen some people that completely miss the mark and misunderstand what in the world is happening. I'm just like, if you haven't been able to figure out why they made this choice, then that's just on you.
I have gotten some responses that are like, "Oh, that's it, okay," like, and that's not an invalid response either, because it isn't a big finale. It's just so people thought it'd be leading up to a bit more.
It is a surprisingly short episode. It was a lot shorter than I thought that it was going to be.
And it's also just it's not as monumental of an episode as it like you might think it might be.
Mm-hmm.
Because the whole show is not driven by these big action scenes. It's driven by these character moments. It's driven by how people, because the show is not called The Infected. It's called The Last of Us. It's who remains left and how do they cope with this.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what this episode's all about.
So
God, I love giraffes.
I was so happy when they had the giraffe scene. It was
real giraffes, not CGI, and people thought they were CGI.
It was so great. Just so nice. The nice minute of just like pure happiness between the two of them. So good. So they go traveling some more. It's now springtime. Joel has Chef Boyardee, beefaroni, and Boggle in his bags. No reason for me mentioning this. I just think it's funny. Ellie,
I did the math. It's probably in the universe. You said springtime now. I don't think it is in the show. Hold on. I think that it just might be stopped snowing because of one main thing. It's like a week walk max. That's with stopping.
It doesn't bother me. It could be, the game says spring, so I'm going with the game here.
I just think it's funny. It's like, this feels rather quick to be springtime in the show now. But all right. Go on.
But yeah, so Ellie is obviously still very closed off and isn't like really being herself because of what happened in the last episode. And Joel, he knows that something happened, but he's not trying to pry her to like open up about it. He's just trying to pry her open to be herself again because he can tell that something's off. And this is when we get one of the best scenes in the show. And one of my favorite additions is when Joel talks about, because they go past like a trauma center that was active like when the apocalypse was first happening. He was talking about, this is where I went after everything happened when it started. And this is when he talks about, because in episode 3 he mentions that he got the scar from someone shooting at him, and he shot back and they missed. No, it was him. There was no other person. This is finally like when he talks about like that he hit like a very low point after Sarah died and he saw no other way out. But at the last moment he, moved out of the way, and that's why he has the scar. And it's so good.
It's also why he's deaf in one ear.
Yeah. And when Ellie was talking about like, because this is like when they're really bonding, when he's finally like really opening up to her, and she was just like, so like time heals all wounds or something along those lines. And Joel is like, it wasn't time that healed it or something like that. And looks at Ellie. It's just like, I love this show. It's so good.
Yeah, that was sad. And then her little nod of her understanding was also great. But yeah, apparently according to the two co-creators of this and the show, that's supposed to be also canon why he has a scar in the game as well.
I've never noticed that he has a scar. I will have to go back and look at that.
Yep, it's always been there apparently.
Interesting. I like it.
Isn't that sad?
So sad. But then after a great bonding moment, the Fireflies flashbang them.
Flashbang!
Knocks Joel out, and that's when we get to the hospital. They finally made it to their destination. And then Marlene's...
hold on. I have problems with this scene.
Which part? The flashbanging or the hospital?
Numerous shit! Because Marlene says that we didn't know it was you. Fuck that! Because Ellie was unharmed. She was just brought in. So they knew who it was. And so at that point, why did you attack them? Just talk.
Just, why not?
They just hated Joel. They thought it'd be fun to mess with him.
Yeah. But yeah, Marlene is just like, yo, Joel, thank you for doing this. By the way, to make the vaccine, I talked to the doctor. He's like, yeah, the brain is what we need, so she's gonna have to die. And Joel's just like, no, this isn't happening. No. Marlene's like, yeah, it's happening. Sorry, #sorry, not sorry.
What a way to talk about that scene. Yeah, I think the way you describe that scene is a little interesting. for hashtag sorry not sorry, all that stuff. But I love Marlene's wording because how they bring up how the doctors have a theory about the cordyceps being in her brain, or about the cordyceps of being there from birth, and that could be the cure. First off, she describes it as a theory. She also says they think it could be a cure. They think it could be a cure. Which really, people have said before, people keep treating this whole scenario as Joel stopped a for sure cure from happening. No.
There was never a guarantee. Because they address this in the games.
It's probably not a cure because this is 2003 medical science.
Like, they know a lot, but they don't know as much as we know now. And even now, we don't know a lot.
From people who were probably just in med school at the time.
Yeah.
Based on their ages. And also, there was no cure for any kind of fungal infection then, and there still isn't today with our current 2023 science. So it's really not a possible scenario. I get them wanting to try, but it's not a possibility. And I think it's so fascinating that we think it could be a cure, but let's not tell Ellie anyway for this choice. They don't tell Ellie what happened. They don't give her an option either. Not that it would be unethical to ask a 14-year-old either way.
Yeah.
To do this.
But yeah, that ties in interestingly into the second game, which no, I can't talk about now. We'll talk about in the future, but
I will know nothing.
I'm not gonna say anything. But yeah, so Joel's just like, nah, I'd like to have a daughter again, please. And Marlene's like, nah, goodbye, get out of here. And so Joel's just like, okay, I made up my mind. And that's when he starts killing all the fireflies to save Ellie.
I like Rampage Joel.
Rampage Joel is fun.
But yeah, Marlene's like, if you try and stop us, kill him. And Joel said that, no, I don't think so. They start walking Joel out of the street. He says, which way to go? Which is a good question. I was like, why are you stopping? He's like, I don't know where I'm going. That's not
I've never been here before.
You flashbanged me and brought me here. I don't know where I am. If we just talked, maybe it'd be fine. And of course, then Joel just murders every single person there, including the doctors. Which I've seen the scene from the game and how it plays out. I think it's really cool to do both ways.
Yeah, I really liked it here because the doctor barely can get in like a word to like plead, and Joel just like immediately shoots him. And I thought that was very interesting and then in the game, because he gets in at least a couple of lines.
I love in the game you can have a choice of how you kill him. It's always fun to me.
Yeah, it's either you can just go up, hit square, and stab him, or you can use literally any of your weapons that you have.
A flamethrower.
Yeah.
But here, I love the detail of he grabs a small scalpel.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, I can't let you do that. He's like, I don't have time for this. Boom. That's it.
Yeah.
And also, one of the actors who was Abby in number 2 was in this scene.
Yeah, she was one of the nurses. You can't really tell unless you're looking for her specifically, but that was a fun nod and detail.
We gotta go back in time and talk about Ashley Johnson.
So the episode opens. We finally get something about Ellie's mom and her birthing and everything. And her mom is played by Ashley Johnson, which
AKA the waitress from Avengers 1.
And Gwen Tennyson from Benton Alien Force.
And no other roles.
Nothing at
important.
all. But I loved that so much of just seeing her literally bring Ellie into this world in 2 different kinds of ways. That was great. The opening was so good. I would see Ashley in a million things. She is incredible. But
if you did not know our sarcasm, she played Ellie in the Last of Us game.
In case you couldn't tell or didn't know. She's very pregnant, about to give birth to Ellie. When she's being chased by infected, she fights off the infected, but she gets bit in the process as she's giving birth, which isn't a great combination of things. And so Ellie gets birth. Marlene shows up a couple hours later, and Ellie's mom is just like, hey, I'm infected. Take care of Ellie for me. Please keep her safe and everything. Definitely don't give her up for science, for death. That wouldn't be great.
It makes me hate Marlene more also, because the detail in this episode, she's like, she talks to Joel about how, trust me, I know how you feel. I was there when she was born. I made a promise to her mom not to hurt her. Then why are you breaking that promise right now?
You're breaking the promise.
The one thing, I understand how you feel. Clearly you don't. You also, Marlene, you do not know.
You put her into the military school from birth.
Right. Marlene made a point in this episode of, like, it's what Ellie would want to do. Maybe, but you don't know that. You don't know her.
But again, it keeps Marlene's character very interesting, that she's very much this like natural born leader, but of course in this world it's very much she's taking the approach similar to Joel of just like having to do like the harshest kinds of things in order to make the world a better place in her eyes. And it's the trolley problem of one life versus the rest of the world or something like that. And it's very interesting how she and Joel have very similar ideologies to that.
I want to see Chidi Aragonye and Joel have a conversation about this.
Chidi would lose his mind.
Chidi would lose his mind at the decisiveness alone at Joel.
Oh, yeah.
But also, Joel did what literally any family member or father would do.
Oh, like, yeah.
If my brother was in the same situation I knew, I would do anything I could to save them. Same kind of thing. My dad, he watched the show as well. He's watching the show as a father and said to me, yeah, Joel did exactly what I would do. Like, without question, Joel did the right thing.
And of course, we can, stand here, talk all day about, the ethics of, like, murder and, like, the possibility of, like, saving the whole world and everything. But when you get down to it, when it's a matter of love and, like, loss and, like, all that kind of stuff, especially in the context of this world, yeah, I think most people would do what Joel did.
Of course, Joel does get Ellie out of there. Marlene sees him in a parking lot, though, and is like, don't do it, Joel. She'd want you to do this.
That's always been my favorite thing from this and the game. She's like, you could still do the right thing here. I'm like, according to you, the only doctor that could have done this is now dead. So what's the point?
That's what I was thinking about it too. I'm like, what do you mean? Like, we could wait for more doctors, I guess.
But like, there's no guarantee on that.
And then we get Joel's great line of just shooting Marlene and saying, you'll just come after her. Which is probably true.
It's so blunt, but he's exactly right. Like, that's exactly what would have happened. It would have been a very standard, if he let her live, like, out of the goodness of his heart, or something like that, like a lot of other stories similar to this would have done, she would have been the villain of the second game, just coming after them. He's like, nah, I'm not doing that, and kills her. I'm just like, cool.
Which is fascinating, because my dad, watching this, said, it sets up a season 2 so well. And I told him how this was originally just it. This was the game at first. He's like, "What?" I'm like, "This was it." He's like, "No." I'm like, "No. The whole point was just to bring up this amazing ethical dilemma and get people engaged in this part. That was the story. That's why the second game is years later. It's not. This was the full story at first." He said that he thought second season would be about them trying to chase him down. I'm like, no. Everyone who knows is dead. There's no one to come after her anymore. Now the ethics are just down to Joel and Ellie and their conflict.
Yep. And that's one of my favorite things about this ending, is that Ellie clearly knows that Joel is lying about something. She doesn't know what, though, because she wakes up in the car as they're driving back to Tommy's, and she still has the scrubs on and everything, and Joel just says, yeah, they ran some tests, they tried to do this and that, but it turns out there's a whole lot of other people like you, and they can't make a cure from it, so they've stopped trying. And you can tell, again, because Bella's an amazing actor, she's just like, okay, something's up here. I don't know about this.
Is Marlene still alive? No, Raiders came. Everyone's dead.
I barely got you out of there myself.
And then they go on a fun hiking trip where Joel's always smiling and keeps talking about how Santa would have liked her.
Yeah. But I really love
and it ends like that, all happy. No other problems.
None at all. But there's a line earlier before they get to the hospital where Ellie's just like, we can't half-ass this, we have to go all the way, because Joel's just like, what if we just turned around, went back to Tommy's, just kind of like lived our life. Ellie's just like, after everything we've done, after all I did, this can't be for nothing. And Joel made it all for nothing, at least in her eyes, because of that. She doesn't know what he did, but she's just like, oh, okay, cool, I guess. But then we get to the final conversation of the two over the hill, as they're about to walk to Tommy's, and Ellie's just like, hey, so yeah, I had to kill my best friend, so I know loss and like all this stuff, and Joel's trying to comfort her, and she's just like, oh my god, dude, just tell me, like, is everything you said true? And he's just like, yes. No, with no question marks about it at all. And again, Bella's amazing reaction. She's just in the eyes, you can tell she still doesn't fully believe him, but she is choosing to believe him and says, okay, and that's where it ends.
I love that, because it's like, that okay is not okay to what you're saying. It's like, okay, sure, this is what we're going with for now. Yep, moving. We'll see how this plays out. It's also, okay, fuck, the one person I trust just lied to me.
Yep.
And so she has no one she can trust now going forward. And that's a fascinating idea to end a story on. So, ethically, Josh, are you more on Joel's side than Marlene's? Because I am.
I am more on Joel's side, but I can understand, Marlene wanting to save the world and everything. But this is something that I've always thought of since the game came out. Like, even if it had worked and Joel didn't do anything, there's no way they'd be able to get it out to everyone in the world and be able to convince them, like, this is a cure. You won't die from this or something like that. Like, the world is too broken at this point. It just can't happen.
Yeah, I agree. I also think Joel couldn't live with himself either way. Like, if he did let it happen, he would have killed himself.
Yeah, it would not have been a happy ending.
What healed him was her.
Yeah.
He said it in this episode. Without her, he'd have Tessa's gone. He'd have Bill and Frank are gone. Sarah's gone. Tommy's on it as having his own family now, where Joel isn't really a part of it anymore. He'd have no one and nothing.
Yeah.
He would have killed himself without her. And I'm not saying that's what in the case for everyone, of course, but that's how Joel as a character is described in the show.
Yeah.
I think the only thing Joel did wrong was lie to her.
Yep.
She would have hated him, so it wouldn't have ended well. It's complicated.
Yes.
And I'm excited I might play both games before I watch the season 2. That way we can both have a discussion like that more. Yes. But I don't know. I might stay our control group. I'm not sure.
God, there's so much I want to talk about with the second season. But I can't.
I'm just ready for tattoo arm Ellie.
Yes. Ellie's tattoo is great. Do you have any kind of predictions at all about where the story could go? Just anything at all in general?
I know it's going to keep being gay.
Of course, it gets gay. It gets very gay.
I know, that's great. I know there's a line in this episode about Ellie about Joel teaching Ellie guitar. I've seen Bella Ramsey play guitar, and I know in her audition she had it in the background purposefully.
Smart.
Because Ellie plays the guitar in Last of Us 2. I don't know much about the game. And again, this is me not trying to spoil anything because I don't know things for certain, really. I know a few things here and there. And that's also like a clip I've seen 1,000 times of her singing Take On Me in a very sad way, which is very funny for that song. But I'm not going to make any predictions because I don't want to accidentally spoil something for someone.
True.
For what? Because I don't know what's real and what's not real in my head about season 2 sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
Here's going to be spoilers for game 1 now. So, Josh, talk freely about differences if you want to.
Because I kind of touched on it in certain areas, but I think the thing I really love the most is, of course, how this really explores the characters. Because when you're playing a game, you can't really have these kinds of moments. Otherwise, it would draw things out, ruin pacing, all sorts of other things. But it's the control you have as the character. So the more you play the game, the more you become attached to believing you're like Joel and wanting to protect Ellie and things like that. So you get that real bonding connection from that. But here, you actually get to experience that, especially Joel's turmoil and stuff, which is not even really hinted at that much. So that was a big change that I really liked. Bill and Frank obviously is the biggest difference. That was, again, I was just like, oh, okay. And it kept going. It kept being different. I'm like, all right, I'm here for this. I'm down. It's very different, but it's very good.
They changed where Henry and Sam are to KC in this instead of where they're originally from. I don't know what city it was. I think it was Detroit or something.
Oh, it was Pittsburgh. I was listening to the podcast about it. They were just like, yeah, there's not a whole lot of like Pittsburghy looking cities in Canada. So they were looking around. They were just like, Kansas City looks like it'll work, and that was the reason. And it could have been any major city. It didn't have to be Pittsburgh. Right. It didn't have to be Kansas City.
It did make them travel farther. That's the only big difference there.
But stuff like Kathleen and everything in Kansas City, that wasn't in the game. That was very different. I really like that. Henry and Sam was definitely different, but it's a change that I think worked very well.
Did you enjoy him being deaf in this?
Yes, I did. I thought that was a really cool choice.
The magic paper?
Yeah, and it made their I thought it made their dynamic stronger, because in the game, Henry is very much kind of like more authoritative, and it's just like, you can't do this, you can't do that, and everything, because he wants to protect his brother, but he doesn't. You can kind of tell he's new at it. He doesn't really know how, because like Sam wants to take like just a small robot toy from a toy shop that they're hiding in, and Henry's just like, "What's the one thing I said?" And Sam's like, "You only take what you need," and he's like, "Yeah, now put it away or something." And then Ellie steals it for Sam, and then in a scene in the game, Sam doesn't tell Ellie that he's bitten. She gives him the toy, and then she leaves. He throws it down, and then he like pulls up his leg to look at his wound, and that's when we see she's like, oh, okay, that's why he's acting like that.
I think it's interesting making him younger, though. I think it's kind of cool.
Yeah, that was something I was just like, okay, all right, I'll go with this. I'll see what it's like.
It does make me question where his parents are, because the younger he is, the longer the parents would have been around.
Yeah, because he was
more recent.
Yeah, because he was 8.
So within the past 8 years, sometime their parents would have been killed probably, or gone away or whatever. I think it's interesting to not touch on that at all. Even not even one line of like, my parents were infected. You could have said one line about that. I thought it would be interesting, but it was cool. Are you excited for season 2?
I am. I'm so excited. Craig and Neil said that it's going to be multiple seasons. Okay. Again, we don't know what that means, like 2, 3, we don't know how long. But
9 seasons of season 2, game 2.
But I played through that game dozens of times with how complex it is and its themes and ideas, how long it is. There's so many things that I'm like, it can't just be 1 season. It has to be at minimum 2. I think that's how you would be able to get across everything. And if they're adding stuff because they said that they're going to, then I think that would make it much stronger for that. So I am so excited just to see it in live action, but I am so terrified of the discourse again, because the discourse the first time was so stupid, and I'm not going to get into it because it spoils stuff, but it all started because someone like leaked details of it without context at all or anything, and the internet just completely like flipped it on its head, was making stuff up about it and everything, and they just lost their mind at it. And I still know people on the internet that have refused to play the game because of the leaks. They still don't know what it's like, and I'm like, you've got to play the game to be able to experience it, to understand the stuff.
The star of our next week episode, Shazam! Fury of the Gods, Zachary Levi, says that he loves both games, and the second one's even better than the first one in his eyes.
I agree.
I think it was really fascinating overall. I'm excited for season 2. I might play both games. I'm not sure yet. I'm excited to see how the games play out more. So I've seen some of game 2 because I also watched your YouTube channel, Josh.
Yeah.
And I used to watch videos of you playing, but it was been a while now, and I remember things in snippets. That's why I don't want to say anything about season 2 predictions. Like, I don't know what is real or not in my head anymore. I just think it's really fascinating that this world is so complex. I love the environment that they're in. I love the set design overall. I love so many details that went in this show. And I'm just overall excited to see what comes next.
Yeah, I remember after I beat the game the first time, on the PS4 version, it comes with a making of documentary about how they made the game and everything. It's also on YouTube to watch. It was very fascinating, just like the whole process of how they came up with the idea and just like the evolution of it. It was very fascinating. It's so good.
Josh, are you ready to move on from the Last of Us topic? I do have one last thing to talk about after The Last of Us. So
I guess.
Isn't it sad to move on from this show?
It always is.
It's been like an hour and a half of probably total time recording talking about Last of Us. So have fun editing.
Yeah.
Okay, Josh. In lieu of a super weird story, I have a small little game for you. Much like our intro every day says, games and more. Here's the games part.
What? Games? That's incorrect.
In honor of this TV adaptation, we're gonna find out, Josh, which Last of Us character you are.
Oh, goody.
According to BuzzFeed, which is the official source for all quizzes.
Of course.
So first, choose a place you'd like to live. Would you like to live in a... I'm going to use my writer's brain to describe things to you. A nice, warm environment with beautiful red, pink flowers and this big white building with lots of windows and sunlight. A nice little house like that. Inside of a cave as one of the options. A red house on a hillside, looks like Ireland probably. A barn, the side of a mountain by a church, like an old cabin, or a nice suburban home in a forest.
What was the one in Ireland?
It looks like a little small red house, like one of those tiny houses kind of houses on a hillside with some nice little cotton and flowers beside it on a hillside. Looks like Ireland probably.
That sounds nice. I'll go with that one.
Okay. What's a hobby you like to dabble in? Music, art, writing, exercising, playing games, or photography?
I guess playing games is the one that I do the most, so I'll go for that one.
not art or writing. You failed as a film student.
I'm aware.
Now, choose your weapon. A 9mm pistol, a semi-automatic pistol, my fists are all I need, machete, hunting rifle, or water gun.
I guess I'll go with the hand pistol. I feel like that would just be the easiest one to work through.
The 9mm pistol or the semi-auto pistol?
9mm.
All right. Now choose a destination, Josh. We're thinking vacation here, okay? For maybe a week. Germany, Mexico, Japan, London, Brazil, or Egypt?
I'm feeling Germany. I don't know why. Let's go for that.
I love how you chose the one place that's not mostly English speaking.
I took German in high school.
Actually, not the one place. They're actually, I mean, there's only one place that's mostly English speaking. You chose one places that are not. But it's fine. I took German too. Choose an animal. I don't know what context for, but wolf, goat, fox, raccoon, cow, or bat.
I'm gonna go with wolf.
Why wolf?
I feel like it'd be, if I could raise it from birth, I feel like that would be a cool animal to have as a protector.
Dog.
It's a dog with fangier fangs.
Lastly, be honest. What's your thing?
My thing?
What's your thing? Is it you don't let people in? You're more positive than most. You talk to yourself. Sometimes too harsh. You don't express emotions or trauma, literally. Jesus Christ.
I like to say that I'm more positive than most on certain things.
Okay, we're gonna see what this gives you then. No. I clicked the wrong one. Oh no, let me make sure. I have to go through all your answers now because the site bugged. So give me 1 second. You got Ellie.
Ooh.
Ellie, it says you're mature beyond your years. You're probably more strong and witty compared to most. You might even deal with some emotional trauma. You're the last hope.
I'm the last hope. You heard it here, folks.
We are screwed.
Exactly.
Oh, and on that is our episode today, guys. I hope you all enjoyed our chaos talking about Good Burger 2 and other things, including Ready to Run, the Horse Girl movie. Was that this one?
No, that was the last one. This one was Quints.
That's right. Oh yeah, the bad one. Okay, bad's a harsh. Ready to Run was more interesting than Quints was.
Yes.
This is our episode, everyone. Last of Us Season 1. Quite a ride.
Quite a great ride.
Josh, where can people find you online?
I'm at places. I'm on Instagram at J_Rudy16, Twitter, J_Rudy28, YouTube at Josh Rudolph.
And you can find me on Twitter at The Theater Nerd, or you can find me on Instagram and TikTok at That Nerd in Theater, or you can tweet at us at #GeekSpeakPod or GeekSpeakPod on Twitter. Or you can email the show at podgeekspeak@gmail.com. And just to be sure, I'm going to check our email right now because I don't think we've got anyone. I'm just figuring it's good to check. We do actually have a response, though, from a DM. The response was for a few episodes ago when we talked about our year in review. We brought up Morbius. And one of our listeners, Marley Loves Film, DM'd the show to say that if Josh was bedridden after watching Morbius, does that mean that Morbius blew his back out?
Yes, indeed. That's exactly what happened.
So yeah, you all can have your responses read aloud on the show, everyone. Tweet at us or email us. And on that note, have a wonderful day.